breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing out there? How you doing, Dr. J?
Hey, we're doing okay. How are you, Rich?
I'm good. Had a good week. How about you?
Doing what now?
I said I had a good week. How about you?
Yeah, sorry, I had turned down my my headphones here.
That's all right. What?
Yeah. Well, listen, whoever's out there, how many we got out there? Oh, not too many, right? Well, how many we got? Anyway, I got a whole new setup here, in case anybody didn't notice. So if you're hearing me okay or you're not hearing me okay, let me know. Got a new camera. Well, it's not a new camera. It's a new to this platform camera. I got a brand new microphone. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know about the picture. And yeah, like that.
Let's do the rounds. Hello, Simon. Gina, how you doing? Anglo, good to see you, brother. Hey, Charlie, good to see you. Chris, yo, dude, you made it. Good. 42. What's up, brother? Evening. It's been the old week. Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Let me see who else. Let's see, Chris. Smash that like button. Yeah, thank you, guys. Wow, what another fire hose week for news, man. Oh, we got a lot going on. Let me.
It's just not stopping, is it?
It isn't, man, and
just...
most of it's good. Most of it is good for us, man. Really good. Let me show the main stories. So this one here is expose how Hillary planned to reward Schiff for undermining Trump. So of course they were in on it together. This one shocked me. Menendez, Gold Bar Menendez's most brazen abuse of power. He helped Egypt cover up the murder of that Washington Post Khashoggi, right? Jamal Khashoggi. Remember when Trump met with the Saudi prince in, what was it, 2018, 18 or 19? I can't remember. But he met with him, because Trump didn't tackle him on the ground or hang him from a tree, they were screaming at him, and he was like doing a presser, and the libnut reporters like, well, why didn't you do anything? He's, what do you want me to do? Start a war with him? And he's like, and they're like, because what he did to Khashoggi, they believe that it was the Saudis that assassinated Khashoggi, and Trump said something that just, I'll never forget. He drove them over the edge at that point, because he said, well, what do you want us to do about it? He's not an American citizen. That should end it right there. No, they lost their ever-loving minds. So let's move on. Trump is right. D.C. has a serious crime problem. Remember when, who was it? It was a governor of what's the earth? It was another mayor. I can't remember. It was a black female who said, it looks like Trump, all these cities he's sending the feds to for the crime problem, they're all black cities. And it's like, what? She goes, why is that? My question was, well, why don't you tell us?
So did you see there was some libnut on this week saying, no, it's safe in Washington, D.C. Look, if I walk around in Georgetown, no problem.
Yeah, Georgetown. That was it. That was the one I'm talking about. And she goes, but he's not sending them to Georgetown. He's sending them to Wards 7 and 8.
Well, let's put up some statistics for Wards 7 and 8 versus Georgetown.
Yeah, we're going to. 57% of DC's homicides took place in those wards. And see, the thing is, Rush Limbaugh once said, the definition of a bigot is anyone who wins an argument with a black person. And unfortunately, he should have said a liberal black person. He usually distinguishes that, but he didn't when he said it. But it is a famous saying, because you can't win an argument, or else you're a racist all of a sudden. So
that's by definition how Democrats, how libnuts win arguments. Once they've called you a racist, that's it. By definition, they won the argument.
I know, and you know what? They just look like a horse's ass to all the other black people in this country, God-fearing, American flag waving, family raising people, and the ones that just like the left. Oh my goodness. They ruin it for everybody. They just do. I don't know what it is with them. They can't keep their mouths shut. They bitch about everything, and they're usually wrong. Moving on.
Are you talking about Jasmine Crockett here? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, she's a part of it too. Wow, she just FO'd. She found out, didn't she?
Well, they are.
Oh yeah, they're going nuts.
They're FOing for sure.
You hear Gavin Newsom said, he's like, well, now we're going to do it in here, and we're going to wipe out 5 or 6 seats of the Republicans. Right. Well, they can't.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, they can't, because they got a commission that they have to go through. Now, Gavin will say, "Screw the commission. I'm a Democrat. That we don't believe in rules. Those rules are for you, not for me." Right? That's what he'll do. So, Janine Pirro, she says, "When I have enough evidence and enough to go forward, you will hear from me loud and clear." And she's talking about charges on Adam Schiff. There you go. Comey in hot water. Mike Davis says Bureau of Prisons should start ordering a 6'8" jumpsuits. I didn't know he was that tall. And how's that look? I did that image in AI. How's it look? It looks pretty cool.
Right?
Fauci? Yeah, it looks pretty cool, actually.
I think it looks good.
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard confirms an investigation into Fauci for perjury and his role in funding gain-of-function research at Wuhan. I'm sure that Rand Paul is going to be jumping up and down for joy, because he's the one, like a dog with a freaking bone. He's the one that kept going after Fauci for lying in front of Congress about gain of function. Like Fauci said to him when he was testifying, when this guy was testifying, he said, so they took a virus that did not infect humans. He goes, they did work on that virus so that it could infect humans. And he goes, that's gain of function. And Fauci, what did he say? You don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, he even said, I'm sorry, I'm a medical doctor too. That is gain of function. And it's just amazing what this guy has gotten away with.
Yeah, I think he forgot that Rand Paul was a medical doctor.
Yeah. Well,
or is a medical doctor.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is his pardon doesn't mean jack anymore. In fact,
well, we're going to find out.
Trump's willing to go to the Supreme Court on that and say, look, if the president of the United States did not know, and we have evidence he did not know, that those pardons were signed. Because the staffers that use the auto pen, though, they sang like canaries, beautiful canaries. They were so, oh yeah, you know what? He didn't know a thing. Sorry, we were told to do it. We did it. I want to know who told him to do it. So here you go. Meet the leakers. Russiagate was more incestuous than you could believe. There you go. Mexico hands over 26 high-ranking alleged drug cartel figures to the U.S. for prosecution. That's big.
Nice.
Because you know what? These cartel guys, they go after the politicians. They have no qualms about blowing up their family. You know, that's pretty big. D.C. begins clearing out homeless encampment as arrests top 150 Trump crackdown. Nice. There's another one I did with AI.
Yeah, I was going to say that definitely looks like AI.
Oh, yeah. Shut it down. I know I gave her better teeth than she has. Shut it down. Bombshell FBI timeline exposes political interference in Clinton corruption probe. Ah, there you go. And he'll never get it. That's what I wrote in there. 7 nations endorse Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. President of Peace, they call him. They'll never give it to him. They never will. And finally, a legacy erased. Happy birthday, George Soros. That's going to be a good one. And then we got the usual fire hose here going up and down. So we'll get on to that. So let's see. Hey, what's up, Wolf's friend 42? Good to see you. Chris, good to see you, man. Who else is here? Okay, cool.
Is 42 in? Hi, 42.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah. Yeah. Could it be a crime? Yeah. Oakland, California. You're right, Chris. You're right. Oakland, California mayor. That was it. That was Oakland. Yeah. See, Chris is on the ball, man. You got to get your channel going, Chris. You got to get your channel, man. And then you and I will collab on a few, and you'll get people in, and I'll get people in. Yeah, we got to talk this weekend, brother. Let's do it. You free this weekend, Chris Hunter? Let me know. Or just text me later on. Yeah, we got to get you going, man. Let me see. Didn't the auto pen pardon Fauci? Yeah, but Trump's saying no because they're interviewing the people. Cool, Chris. Yeah, they're interviewing the people that ran the auto pen, and they're singing like canaries, man. They're saying, yeah, like he didn't know anything. He knew nothing. You know, now they're trying to say that he didn't even sign Hunter's.
Well, I thought that was the one because I remember seeing something about that. I thought that's what
I think that was a media lie.
That they said. They said he sat down and everybody witnessed him doing it, but you know
they said it, but that doesn't mean it.
Doesn't mean that it happened.
Yeah, it doesn't mean jack squat.
But that's the one.
Yeah, we liked it too. 42. We had a blast last week. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Great. And then,
next time, get Sensum in.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking with you. 42.
He's pretty funny too. Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, enjoyed talking with you. 42.
Yep. All right, let's get into this. Let's see. We'll do the first one. Expose PJ Media. How Hillary planned to reward Schiff for undermining Trump. She did nothing. The real scandal at the heart of the Russiagate saga is the intimate and troubling connection between Adam Schiff and Hillary Clinton. This connection reveals how classified intelligence, she had no classified intelligence on her emails, sir. This connection reveals how classified intelligence was weaponized to target Donald Trump. We've already talked about how recently declassified documents confirm the Trump-Russia collusion hoax was a deliberate political hit job, which Barack Obama approved in coordination with Clinton's 2016 campaign. See, they didn't want to have to hide everything. All the shit that they did for 4 years or 8 years, actually, right? So he wanted Hillary to win. Now, they believed their own hype machine that she had like New York Times, 98% chance of winning. You know, the Young Turks they all had like brain aneurysms on the air when they were watching it go down and down and down. That's what they were watching was New York Times.
The beauty of it is they never thought they would have to hide it because if Hillary won,
they would scrape it under the rug, sweep it under the rug, right?
Done.
And burn it.
And even going forward from there, if Kamala would have won, they still would have had enough time to get rid of it.
Right, exactly. But things are so much worse. As PJ Media previously reported, then Congressman Schiff was the architect behind the deliberate leaking of classified information aimed at smearing Trump. And He didn't say this quietly with whispers. He bragged about it openly in front of his entire staff, and one of those staff members, who was a friend of his, became a whistleblower. They got him dead to rights. Dead to rights. The guy swore he swore an affidavit, which he could go to jail for lying to FBI agents. It's actually a felony to lie to. It's considered perjury. All right, so I'm pushing a narrative against him designed to ensure his prosecution. Now, we also heard of Bill Barr being involved. He created a special room for him and Schiff to go over dirt to try to throw at Trump to get him indicted. Can you believe this? That's what they did. His own attorney general. Back in 2017, a veteran career intelligence officer working for Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee, this is the guy I'm talking about, warned the FBI. 2017, guys. He had 4 testimonies he did. The first was 2017. Warned the FBI that Schiff had not only approved, but actively orchestrated the leaking of sensitive classified intelligence. Now, did you see yesterday? I should have brought it up, but did you see yesterday? Schiff for Brains was out in California, and he had Newsom and all the other usual suspects behind him. And he went on for like 20 minutes or so trashing Trump. You know, for some reason, you know, he's just covering up his own crimes, his own fascistic ways and all. I'm sitting there going, asshole, like they got you. You know, this isn't helping you. They got your ass. All right.
Rich. Yeah. This is all fake news made up by MAGA, you bigot.
I know. I'm a bigot. His goal was to use this information to secure an indictment against Trump. Of course, the whistleblower who was close to Schiff, he was friends with him, and other intelligence figures on both sides of the aisle described these actions as unethical, illegal, and treasonous. They used the T word, and it was because he was a duly elected president. The implications don't stop with Schiff. Investigative reporter Catherine Herridge. Now, guys, she was at Fox and she left, but I think she's at CBS now, or she left there too, and she's independent. I don't know, but she's not fake news. She's one that I believe when she writes her stories. There was only one time she was forced to lie. The people, and I think that's why she left, not Fox, but CBS. If she's not with them. One of the networks, she left because they changed her story on her, and they told her not to say anything. She couldn't handle that. Investigative reporter Catherine Herridge has not only released FBI reports that reveal that Eric Fartswell, another Democrat on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, was also a habitual leaker of classified information. This sounds just like the article I wrote. Even receiving warnings from the FBI to be more cautious. The reports also indicate that had Clinton won the 2016 election, she would have likely rewarded Schiff for his efforts by appointing him CIA director, a testament to their deep ties and shared political objectives. That's all we need to read. But oh my God, can you imagine that a-hole? He's so abused the powers of the Intelligence Committee during that first hearing, or the first phony impeachment. He had hearings during impeachment hearings where he locked out the Republicans.
Okay, no,
on the committee.
That is good. I mean, Schiff in charge of the CIA. Are people going to start disappearing?
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously?
Yeah, but think about it. Republicans had to storm into the room. They had to break the door open because he was literally holding meetings saying, "No, you can't come in." What? And then the crowd strike, right? Sean Henry.
The man is the lowest of the low.
Well, Sean Henry, right? Sean Henry was, I think at the time, he was either CEO or president of CrowdStrike, and he was brought in to testify. Schiff did it behind closed doors and said everybody, you can't say anything outside this room, because he knew it was going to be said. And what happened after the hearing, he himself ran out to the press and said, "Oh yeah, the Russians, according to CrowdStrike, the Russians hacked the DNC server to help Trump win." Well, it wasn't until Trump's second year in office his third year in office, that they revealed what was actually said, what Sean Henry testified to. And he said, no, he said it was a thumb drive. He said because the speed, and according to the logs, the speed at which the data was transferred, what it said that it was not online. It was a thumb drive. right? And so it had to be somebody internal. So Schiff lied about that. And I mean, incidentally, Sean Henry, he was the protege. He was the deputy executive assistant of the FBI. He was a protege of Robert Mueller. Can you believe that shit? What an incestuous world. And so when he left government to go start, or he was one of the guys, the beginning guys of CrowdStrike, he kept in touch with Mueller. And because of Mueller knowing that, and he was working for Wilmer Hale at the time, a big-ass law firm, their top client was China. And what's called so what happened was Mueller told the DNC, the Democrats, basically Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was the DNC chairperson at the time, told her, yeah, go to my ex-protege, Sean Henry at CrowdStrike. He'll do whatever you pay him to do, and he'll cover it up. Well, he didn't cover it up. He gave them a report, but the Democrats reported what they wanted to, and that's what happened in the end. Now, here's the one I wanted to talk about, because Menendez, man, he got away. Let me present it. Yeah, he got away with, oh, God, so many things. And at first the timing was, I thought, hey, what's up, Pamela? Special K, what's up, man? Good to see you. Paca, hey. Sorry, guys, I don't see you when I'm reading because I don't see the screen. You know how it is. Sorry, man. Good to see you guys here, and girl. So Menendez, I felt sorry for him at first because he was saying things against illegal immigration and the vax. And I thought that the Democrats went after him to throw him under the bus. But wow, oh, wow. Who knew this, right? Gold bar, Bob Menendez's most brazen abuse of power, helping Egypt cover up the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Wow. Let's bring this up. Bob Menendez advised Egyptian officials how to cover up their part in the grisly murder of Saudi Arabian dissident Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This was an egregious human rights abuse and the biggest betrayal to the values he was elected to uphold as a U.S. senator. Oh, man, he belongs in prison. The disgraced former New Jersey Democrat, now serving an 11-year sentence for corruption and conspiracy to act as a foreign agent for Egypt and Qatar, had coached his high-level Egyptian contacts how to respond to a grilling about Khashoggi's assassination in a Saudi embassy before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in June 2021, court records show. As if that wasn't bad enough, Menendez was the powerful chairman of the committee at the time. Unreal. That's Khashoggi. So, as revealed in my upcoming book, Gold Bar Bob, Downfall of the Most Corrupt U.S. Senator, co-author, who cares? Menendez met with Abbas Kamel, then director of the General Intelligence Directorate of Egypt. I don't trust anybody in Egypt. I don't trust anybody in D.C. He was visiting the U.S. in an effort to persuade the Biden administration to release more than $300 million in weapons sales held up because of concerns over the Middle East country's shoddy record on human rights. Now, do you remember Joe Biden, when he first stole the White House, he was talking a lot of shit on the Crown Prince because he was going out there saying, "Oh," and you know why? Because all the lib nuts freaked out, and so he had to placate them. So he was going around saying that he'll do something when he gets into Saudi. He'll hold them responsible for this, even though there was never a single charge. There was no investigation into the Saudis for having assassinated the guy, right? And they could have done it through Egypt, but still, he, as a president, you don't go around doing that shit, right? So he did it, and as a result, if you remember, when Biden went over there and sat with the Crown Prince, he sat across from him and was laughing at him. He was saying to the people left and right of him, he's saying, this guy's a retard. He's saying the equivalent of that. He's brain dead. And he's just sitting there like, and he's laughing at him, and I had to support it because he was right. But I mean, Biden. This is what Democrats do. They forget that they really have to placate no one else but the American people. The voters, they have to placate them. But he had to placate political ideologies. And doing that, he screwed himself with Saudi, because later on, when he screwed our energy system up, when he screwed our energy sector like to the wall, shut down, drill, all that. Well, he asked Saudi, if you remember, to increase every summer, and they were like, no, we won't do it. And they could have done it, but they're like, no. Well, that's what you get. And you want to know something? They like Trump so much that you remember a few weeks ago or a month ago when Trump landed there, the Saudi prince actually walked on the
Yes.
tarmac to shake his hand at the bottom of the stairs.
They don't do that.
That's never done. Right. You go to the royalty. The royalty doesn't come to you. They went to Trump because they knew that Trump's going to help them because it's going to help us. The Saudis convicted of killing Khashoggi had obtained the drugs used in his murder from Egyptian intelligence operatives, according to reports and court filings. Khashoggi, a columnist for the Washington Post, was killed and dismembered, yikes, when he attended an appointment at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2, 2018. So the Saudis used their diplomatic they used their diplomatic standing inside the consulate, inside their embassy, in order to murder the guy and dismember him. Holy crap.
Yeah, and you got to know when the Crown Prince walked out to Air Force One, that's more than you come to royalty. Royalty doesn't come to you. What that is respect. They understand that, Trump's got something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does. People like
his words and actions make a difference. And they go, I guess I'm going to go out there.
Well, they say we'll put up with his shenanigans because he's going to make us rich.
Well, I mean, but that's part of it. But you got to understand in that culture, is respect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, independent. They recognize and respect. They respect the strength and the wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
And
force. That's all they respect.
And power. They don't
respect the epitome of a liberal male American.
Bingo. You just nailed it.
That's it right there. They don't. What Menendez did was sinful, said Hanan Elater Khashoggi. I hope I didn't murder the name. The slain journalist's wife. It's sinful when I hear that a U.S. senator accepted a bribe from a dictator to cover up a murder. Oh, well. So now I wonder what's going to happen to him now that they have the proof.
Yeah, sinful is certainly one word for it.
Oh, yeah, man. Royalty. Yeah, what's next? Let's see. Let's share the screen.
Yeah, Special K, you're right. They also have this thing about women being in their place. You do have the point.
Yeah, There you go. Here it is. This is good. This is MSN, too. It's from the Atlantic, but Trump is right that D.C. has a serious crime problem. Now, when one of the most liberal journals in the world
has to agree with Trump.
Yeah. Now,
bottom line,
I have not read this, all right, because I wanted to see how they're actually going to twist it to insult Trump.
Okay, but just by the headline, this is my shocked face, okay?
I know. Oh, I know. So here we go. So President Trump yesterday, and I think it was 2 days ago, announced what amounts to a federal takeover of law enforcement in the District of Columbia. He declared that he would deploy the National Guard and invoke an obscure provision of the city's charter to take control of the district's Metropolitan Police Department. This was all he said: to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor. Is crime in D.C., as Trump put it last week, totally out of control? Critics were quick to dismiss. They weren't critics of what he said. They're critics of him. TDS. Okay, they said his claims were fear-mongering. They pointed to rapidly declining rates of violence over the past year. Quote, any comparison to a war-torn country is hyperbolic and false, said Muriel Bowser, the mayor. All right. The reality is more complicated. This is the Atlantic. The reality is more complicated than either the president or the mayor depict. Bowser is right that violence has declined. But here's the thing, without even reading it, it was so high to begin with that even though it's declining, it's still super high. Okay.
In 2023, Washington, D.C. was not only the most crime-ridden, most violent, dangerous city in this country, it was the most violent national capital in the world.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Period.
Uncle Bobbity. Oh, you can't stay? Just an affiliate can't stay. Ah, there
Oh,
you go.
sorry, Bob. Thanks
That's
for
a shame.
showing
All
up.
right, man. Have a good night, though.
And did you see the clip where the chief of police was being interviewed?
Yep.
And the reporter asked, okay, well, what's going to be the chain of command? And the chief of police goes, chain of command, what's that?
Yeah.
And Muriel Bowser had to come in.
Oh, wow.
What was that?
You got my Google Home to talk to me. Let me see what she said. Federal takeover brings confusion over command of DC police. She overheard it. Hey, what's up, Louie? Good to see you, man.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
You just never know what's going to happen on this show, you know?
I know. The reality is more common than we already read that. Like most other big cities. Well, wait a minute. Let me read. I missed the part. But the nation's capital really does have a long-standing and profound violence problem that will not improve without deliberate invention. All right, I'm going to ask. There's one word. Let's ask the people in the chat. There's one word that explains why Washington D.C. and don't say anything nasty, guys. There's one word begins with an L. Why the crime rate, the murder rate is so high in the nation's capital. Go ahead.
I can think of a word that starts with L. Oh, pick me, Coach.
Pamela, Lou. Think again. What's that?
Pick me. I can think of a word that starts with L.
Okay, go ahead.
How does it go? Does it have a B in it?
Yes, it does. There you go. Simon got it. Ding, 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 ding. Liberalism.
Yep.
That's it. Liberalism. Liquid? No.
Not liquid. Liberals.
Yeah,
liberals.
Where is liquid? Where is
liberals?
These
liberals
days?
And liberalism.
There you go. Yeah, it's liberalism. Absolutely. It's freaking liberalism. That's what causes it. Liberalism
I was going to say liberals, but
look,
same.
Here's the thing, right? So liberal, like our country was great because of our constitutional republic, because of the norms and folkways that we had, the traditions that we built from the beginning, right? And when you think about it, when you read policies and ideas that liberals come up with, I'm talking political liberals, you think about it, they're for tearing down all of that. They want to tear all of it down. They don't want it. And that's why right now they're at their lowest point. So let's get this. Like most big cities, DC experienced a surge in violence during the pandemic. A timely analysis from the crime researcher Jeff Asher shows that murder crested in December 2023 and has been declining steadily since the 2025 total through last month equals the equivalent figure in 2019. Carjackings are also down. Asher reports that July saw the fewest carjackings. Yeah, well, guess how many carjackings they had in my town all year? None. I looked it up. None.
I think murders are actually up. Other violent crime is down, but murders, I think, are up.
Yeah, they are. They are actually. And look beyond the recent past, and the trend lines are less sunny. Although violent crime rates overall are near 30-year lows, Washington's murder rate was generally rising even before the pandemic. The murder rate at the end of 2024 was, per Ash's data, lower than 2023, but still about 70% higher than that of a decade prior. That's what it is. It's coming down. Like the normal crime rates here, DC's was up here. Well, it's coming down. That's great. Yeah. Well, guess what, Libnut? You still got a screwed up city full of violence.
You came down to you brought it down to major disaster.
Right. And although carjackings are down, they're still elevated over pre-2020. Lastly, Asher highlights some discrepancies between the city's official violent crime statistics and what it reports to the FBI. Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you something. You remember Fast Eddie Rendell? Does anybody remember that name? Eddie Rendell?
Don't think so.
Okay. Ed Rendell was the mayor of Philadelphia. Okay. He then became the governor of Pennsylvania 2 terms, and then he became the head of the DNC. All right. So Fast Eddie Rendell, he wanted for the city, he wanted to he's a Democrat, right? But Philadelphia was one of the cities that was in contention to have the Republican National Convention when Bob Dole ran. Bob Dole was in Philadelphia because Bob Dole loves Philadelphia. Bob Dole. So when he was coming there, Rendell wanted him there. And he knew that the crime statistics in Philly, they would never accept it. So he lowered crime, right? Now, most politicians want to lower crime by putting more cops on the beat, by having programs that will help people turn them in, stuff like that. No, what Fast Eddie did was he told his police captain, see, in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, they had libturds. That's pretty funny. They had ward captains, precinct captains. Okay. And it used to be that the ward captain, they had a little jail there and they could arrest someone, their cops. They would bring them to the ward and then they would decide there, do we press charges or not? Right. But now they have a thing called the Roundhouse in Philadelphia, and everybody goes down to Center City to wherever it is, the Roundhouse, right? You got to go to the Roundhouse. So they don't have a choice anymore. So this is how Rendell was able to control what I'm about to tell you. He told his ward captains, tell your police to not bring anybody to the Roundhouse, which means don't charge them for certain types of crimes. And there was a friend of mine, who got mugged, and he called the police. He was hurt too. He got mugged. His wallet stolen, his watch, and his bag. And called the police. They said, "You want to go to the hospital?" He goes, "No, I'm fine. Because the guy cut his head. He punched him in the head. And so he said, "Can I get a copy of the report?" And he goes, "Oh, we're not going to do a report." And he goes, "What do you mean you're not going to do?" He goes, "No, we're not going to do a report for this. We don't do reports." He's like, "What the fuck, man?" So he calls his district captain, and they said, "We were told not to do reports for certain kind of crimes." So they cut crime by not reporting it anymore. And they lie. And as a matter of fact, Rendell was the first mayor that the FBI has. They're called uniform crime reports. And they're like, they want you to report all your crimes. Now, murder, kidnapping, and rape, you must report them. You could get a felony charge if you don't. All right. The other crimes, so a lot of places don't, but they want you to. Well, here, Rendell was the first mayor in the history of the FBI's uniform crime reports where they sent it back to him and said, redo it. We know you lied. That's what they did. And then the people of Pennsylvania were stupid enough to elect him governor twice.
And for Washington, D.C., did you not hear that? I think they called him a director. It was a director or commissioner of the police got suspended because he was going in and changing the records in the computer from felonies to misdemeanors.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. He's
a liar. He's a prick.
It's about as reliable as mail-in ballots.
Yeah. Hey, Don. Good to see you. Who else?
Want to go to the next story?
Hey, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. I'm sorry, what?
Want to go to the next story?
Yeah, we're done this one. We're done, as that liberal said. Let's see. Let's go back. I should do it more smoothly, I realize, but okay. Janine Pirro, Judge Janine. She says, when I have evidence and enough to go forward with you, will hear me loud and clear. She's talking about charges against Schiff. So, because everybody's asking, well, why isn't he being charged yet? Well, he's investigated. You got to do the investigation and then cross every T, dot every I. Unless you're a Democrat, then you just make the accusation performative truth over objective, and your job is done.
And just make it up as you go along.
Yeah, because the press is going to back you up no matter what. And identify, look what that's what we're going after right now is how that, that's what I want. I want members of the press held on this too. We have freedom of the press not to lie and not to actually help someone commit treason. You don't. An unidentified Democrat whistleblower told the FBI that then Democrat Representative Adam Schiff approved leaking classified information to smear Trump. We already read this part, but Benny Johnson's in a lot of trouble right now. Did you hear about that? I like Benny Johnson.
What's he in trouble for?
Well, first of all, he was actually fired from BuzzFeed for plagiarism because they caught him like plagiarizing like a dozen articles. Don't hold me to that, Benny. But now recently, what's his name? David Pacman did a video on it, but that's not why. That's not why. That's what caught my attention when I saw that idiot, that libnut clown. But there were other people I heard that mentioned it too. They looked at the growth of channels, okay? And he had over 2.2 million new subs in 1 year. And you would think, well, he works like a beast, because he does. He does a lot of videos. He does a really good job. I hope to emulate him someday, his work ethic, because he's more. I do everything on my own. He has people that help him because he pays them, right? He has a staff. I do everything, all my videos, everything about the videos. I do myself because I don't have that kind of cash yet, But so it turns out that they're saying that they believe he bought subs, that's what he did. Because they said, look, he beat out Joe Rogan for growth in a year that Trump was elected, right? So they say he beat out Joe Rogan, he beat out all these other podcasts and guys that are like really big. He beat them out like tenfold for the year, and they're like, nobody can do that. Now, that's not proof of anything, but he's going to catch hell for it. I know he is. And then you're going to have people that are going to subpoena YouTube and all that. But the guy is one of the hardest working people in the industry for an influencer, and
that's too bad. That's too bad. I like Benny.
I like him a lot too, and I'm just saying he's going to catch a lot of shit. I don't know if it's true. I'm hoping it's not, because I do like him. I feel bad for him, actually, because I think it's people see what happens is you hit plateaus, right? Well, you get enough people, and then you don't get a lot more for like another year, because you got to up your game. Like right now, I got like 1,800 after 3 years. That's all I got, because it's slow in this genre, right? Conservative reactionary news, it's slow. It's not that fast for us, right? But he never plateaued. He just kept soaring, right? And it's because it's his full-time job. It's what he does. Now I have a full-time job outside of this. So I can't do 3 and 4 videos a day. He does like 4 or 5. Like the guys that are way up there, that's what they do all day, because they make their money doing it, and all the side hustles that they got. But
he's also decent at what he does too.
He's very good at what he does. I really like what he does. And he does something too that I have to say he must be paying for them. But before every video, he has like an AI video that's kind of funny. You can laugh at them. They're pretty good. And it basically... It gives you an idea of what his video is going to be about, and then he goes into it. It's kind of like the liberal hive mind. That guy has like a lot of memes. He has meme of the day, and he has all that shit. Then he gets into the story. Well, Benny does it, but he does it with these pretty cool videos. So speaking of one, I'm going to play one in a little bit. Remember they were calling, she called Trump Batman. Yeah. So Pirro also told Johnson that she does not talk about her cases while she's all right. So she's talking to Benny Johnson, said when she has enough evidence. So Johnson said, Adam Schiff today, there was an FBI 302. A 302 is a document when an FBI agent does an interview with you. Okay. He's interviewing, he's questioning you, right? And right after that, he can take notes and all, but they don't really like them doing that inside the room, the interview room, the interrogation room, because they don't want the other person being able to read what they're writing. But what they do is right after that interview, they are required to fill out a 302. And the 302 is they have to write every single thing that happened in that room, which is not just what people said, but the person's reaction, where they looked, because like they study the psychological shit of people's behavior, right? And they have to write it all down because they want to remember while it's fresh in their mind. Because later on, what if they don't remember? Like 2 years, they got 25 cases in that amount of time, big cases, they're not going to remember every detail, so they do a 302. Okay, so, and that's important to note, because for General Mike Flynn, when it was Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who interviewed him with a couple other guys, and apparently when Strzok came out of the room, he said to the other two, he said, I believe him. He said, I don't think he lied. But then later on, they charged him with lying, and they found out later on after that, like 2 years later, Trump declassified the 302 document, and they charged him because they wanted to squeeze him to give them something on Trump, but there was nothing on Trump, right? Their TDS said, oh, it's got to be something. They're all just like, they're protecting him, right? Well, they weren't. He did nothing wrong. So what happened was, I'm really digressing here, by the way. Sorry. But what happened was they charged, that's why he pled guilty, Flynn. They charged Flynn with that he lied to the FBI, which I said was a felony, about his talking to the Russian ambassador, Sergei, and they said, you told us that you didn't talk about, it was, what was it? It was the sanctions. Yeah, it wasn't the diplomats kicking the diplomats out of the country, because that's what he did talk to them about. Obama kicked the Russian diplomats out of the country to act like, well, we're really serious about you interfering in the election, right? That's why he did it, because he's an asshole. He was the guy behind the so-called interference that didn't exist, right? But they wanted to make it seem so. He actually kicked diplomats out of the country. That is like a precursor to war when you do that. Right. And so that's why Sergei didn't bother calling the Obama people. He called Mike Flynn because he knew he was coming in. And Flynn told him, don't do anything. We're coming in. Don't worry. Don't do anything right now. Just tell your people, please don't do anything. We'll handle it. Right. And so they didn't. But so later on, 2 years later, after they charged him, and then he had to plead guilty because they were going to go after his son, because his son worked in the business they had with him. They're going to bring him down, too. For doing nothing, right? So here, Trump declassifies that 302 document and the recording of the interview. And not only did Flynn not lie to the FBI about talking to Sergei about the sanctions on Russia, they never asked him about it. That's how fucking corrupt these people are. They never asked him about it, but they charged him for it. And he had been in enough of those meetings to know that these guys were turned. They were communists. They were working for the state. They didn't care about due process, the rules. They didn't care. So he just said, you know what? I'm going to plead guilty to save my son. You guys are assholes. You'll get your comeuppance someday. And that's what happened. So when you hear 302, it just triggers me. Adam Schiff today, there was an FBI 302 that has now been declassified by Kash Patel. It's Patel. It's Congress. It's gone to Congress, and it's about Adam Schiff leaking classified information. Benny said this. It's a whistleblower from his office. It was. I reported on it, too. And the documents are here. And he said he was friendly with him. Are here in public. Is saying, well, you listen. Only the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. can make that decision. That's her. Right? So my question is open-ended. Have you reviewed these documents? Yada, yada. And she basically said, you know what, Benny? I think that this is my wheelhouse. It is. That's why she's perfect for this. The difference between me and some other people is that I don't talk about what I'm investigating. I don't talk about what I'm doing. When I have the evidence, we'll go forward. So that was that.
Yeah, and the thing is, everybody, and I'm sure this is no secret to anyone, but you need more than a single witness testimony. You can't just convict or indict somebody on a single whistleblower. Everybody's gnashing at the teeth. Yet, I mean, we know he's friggin' guilty. He's
yeah.
We know this, but
you got to prove it.
You need to have the proof, and that's why you need to get all this in order. And especially unless you're a Democrat, of course, but yeah. You need to get it in order. And you need to get all your facts straight, because if you go too soon, you blow it, and you've lost your chance.
Yep.
I also want to say something. Take two. I am jealous. I am very jealous. Okay. You found a bass player.
Oh.
I've been looking for a bass player for like 2 years.
Wow, really?
So go jump in a lake.
Yeah, well, she's jealous. All right.
I'm jealous. I admit it.
Moving on. Oh, here we go. Here's another good one. Yeah, it's just this week is just crazy with news, like big stuff too. Here we go. So Comey in hot water. Mike Davis says Bureau of I got something to tell you about Mark Davis too. I was on the phone with him last night. We talked for a while. Comey in hot water. Mike Davis says Bureau of Prisons should start ordering 6'8" jumpsuits. So here we go. Lock him up. That's the sentiment going around the internet right now, thanks to some damning new information involving the former FBI director, James Comey. Comey, who spent years trying to take down President Trump, may finally be facing the music. Let me stop here. The last story we did had to be told because a lot of people are, I'm just not going to believe it. Nothing's going to happen. We all say it, right? But they're trying to say, look, We can't just say you're guilty. You know, we got to go to court, and you can't just go to court saying he's guilty.
Unless you're a Democrat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you got to have, and it's in D.C. That's what I'm saying. You can't charge. They make a fatal mistake if they charge these people in D.C. Because
they can't charge them in D.C. and you got to make sure that you've got all the evidence. Because if
law and order does not exist in D.C.
Yeah, but if you don't have but treason, can be tried in any court.
Oh yeah, well,
anywhere in the country.
For the feds, they can go to any court.
So, but the thing is, and like I just said a couple of minutes ago, you got to have this all tied up, because if you go to court and you have holes in the case, excuse the expression, but you've blown your wad and you can't go back. There's no second bite at the apple.
Yikes. Okay.
So you really have to get it. So I'm as interested to see this happen as anybody else, but you got to get everything together.
Yeah, that is true. You got to cross the T's and dot the I's. Otherwise, it's going to get thrown out. Because first of all, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be fighting an uphill battle to do justice, right? The fucking Dems just make things up, and it goes pretty smoothly for them, right? I mean, look what they did to Trump, the lawfare. What was it? 92 indictments, 4 major cases against them. They lost them all, but still. So now, if this is true, this isn't just another Comey being Comey scandal. It's a federal crime. Leaking classified material isn't just some slap on the wrist offense, unless you're Hillary Clinton, that is. This writer probably knows you, Jade. Also, there's a 10-year statute of limitations on knowingly and willfully leaking classified information, and this order allegedly went down in 2017. Yes, they got 2 years, a little less than 2 years. That means the clock is still ticking, and there's still time to drag Comey in front of a grand jury. Let me say something.
Yeah, and all they have to do is throw the charges within the statute.
I want him to do the perp walk, and I want him to know what it's like to have the full weight of the federal government on your ass, right? Except the difference is you really did the crime. I just want his reputation destroyed by them pointing out all the evidence against him, because there's a lot of evidence. So Nick Sorter, who's pretty good on X, I follow him on X, he writes, wow, James Comey has just been exposed for ordering the FBI to leak classified information to the New York Times during Trump's first term per newly declassified docs. Comey needs to be locked up. 10-year statutes, and this grand jury lock him up. Yeah. So let's say.
This is a very long piece that you have here.
Yeah.
It is a worthwhile read. I'll let you sum it up.
I gotta see how long.
And then I want your conclusion on what you're finding here, because to me it's very damning.
Well, what you find out is that James Comey decided not to work through the FBI press office when he wanted to change the narrative in Washington, burnish his reputation against attacks from Democrats. They try to sully Donald Trump's reputation. If you remember, Democrats were mad that James Comey let out of the bag just before the election that there might be some new evidence in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. Hillary blamed Comey for throwing the election. She blamed the Russians for throwing the election. She blamed everybody but herself for throwing the election for her. But Comey was trying to rehabilitate that. And so he had an intermediary, a Columbia law professor by the name of Daniel Richman, who the FBI confirmed and interviewed. And Richman said, yes, I used my relationship with a New York Times reporter named Michael Schmidt. He's one of the authors of the Pulitzer Prize winning package that President Trump is now suing over. And my goal was to improve negative stories about James Comey and to set a narrative, i.e., set the Russia collusion narrative. This guy worked around the official channels of the FBI.
And we're paying their salary.
At one point, the FBI noted, you met with James Comey. He gave you access to classified information. A short while later, you had a conversation with that New York Times reporter, and he ends up reporting something that appears to be classified. Did you do it? And he gives, I think, perhaps the most famous denial people will remember, since Bill Clinton says it depends what the meaning of the word is when he tried to obfuscate whether he had an affair with Monica Lewinsky. He says, I can say, I don't think I confirmed the information. I can say with a discount that I didn't give him the classified information. With a discount means you got to give me some room. It's an extraordinary moment. The FBI clearly had strong suspicions that this was a potential backdoor for information, maybe classified information, to get out to the media with James Comey's fingerprints on it. And they didn't go much further. They didn't put Comey before the grand jury, that we can tell. They didn't appear to put this.
You know what else is going on, though? These people have committed crimes that you only see in a movie, right? You don't see treasonous shit like this every day. And yet they did it every day to go after one man.
Gentleman, Daniel Richmond, before the grand jury. And like Adam Schiff, as we told you last night, here they have an eyewitness whistleblower said, I was in the room when he authorized leaks of intel. These end up being a dead end again. And it's another reminder of a dual system of justice that the Justice Department had the last 6 years. These are documents that were never given to Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan confirmed that to me today.
Yep.
And we're just learning 8 years later, because of what Kash Patel turned over, that the FBI had all the evidence of how the false narrative of Russia collusion was spread across this country to the detriment of voters, to the detriment of President Trump's first campaign, and they did nothing about it.
It's a credit to the FBI. It's a credit to Kash Patel. It's a credit to the people that are involved in sharing this information now with the public. Do you see legal jeopardy here?
I think if Pam Bondi goes the grand jury route, that these are people that are going to be hauled before the grand jury. I want to remind people, most classified information statutes have a 5-year statute of limitations, but there is a provision that extends it to 10 years, if it's willing and knowing. And there's some pretty clear evidence
willing and knowing.
A strong apparatus put in place to make these leaks occur, according to the FBI documents. I think a grand jury could go back and try to compel testimony and find out if it rises to the level of criminality. Tomorrow, though, I think we're going to take people on a new destination, which is, how often did the FBI get blocked in trying to investigate Hillary Clinton corruption at the Clinton Foundation? You're going to be shocked by the answer.
Yeah. Unreal, man. Comey is such a smarmy little bitch. I can't stand him. He sits there and insults Trump just like Adam Schiff. No different. Just like Hillary Clinton. They're all that way. They all did shit to try to end his career, end his life, even. And yet
they tried to shoot him.
I know.
Tried to shoot him.
They did shoot him.
They did shoot him.
They're still smarmy a-holes about it. Yeah, I hear you, Special K, but I don't know this time. Let me put it this way. It won't be for the lack of trying by the DOJ and the FBI. It could be judges. It could be a jury. It could be some other outside shit that will block them.
And let me put it this way. In my opinion, I have that fear myself. However, I think at this moment in time, we are far more likely to get convictions than we ever have been.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So
I mean, at least they're looking at it.
You know,
there's grand juries that have been convened already.
Yeah. So I think it could happen. Will it happen? Well, I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I certainly hope it happens.
Yeah. That could be anybody's guess. Let's move on. Where the hell? Oh, there we are. I got a lot of things I got to close. By the way, we're on Rumble and BitChute as well. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. I hardly ever mention that. I should mention it more, a lot more. Here we go. Here's the one. So, this is the Independent Sentinel. Dr. Fauci and gain-of-function research are under investigation. Dr. Anthony Fauci used tax dollars. These are things we already knew, but now they're actually looking at it because the right people are in there. Dr. Anthony Fauci used tax dollars to indirectly, which means he went around his own board in his department, that in order to give grants out over a certain amount, you have to get the board to vote on it. He bypassed that board to get the money, and he went to a third party, which was that Echo Health Alliance. That's what they're talking about. So
yeah, I think it went through like 2 or 3 NGO type things before.
Well, no, it went through Echo Health Alliance. The president, I can't remember his name right now, but the president of that took the money and then put it in their name so that Fauci wouldn't get hit with it. And they were the ones that gave it to the Chinese. Excuse me. So I'll start over. Dr. Anthony Fauci used tax dollars to indirectly fund the Wuhan lab's gain-of-function research. He is under investigation for perjury, for lying about it, because he did. The evidence is smoking gun level. However, he was pardoned by Joe Biden auto pen as Joe was going out of the White House door. But there is some question if that is legal. True. Fauci is in his 80s, and he's not as much a target as gain of function. Tulsi wants to see that type of research stopped before we have another pandemic. Well, they're already pushing one over there right now.
Yeah.
They're pushing another one right now on their own people just to get all the data to see how much it'll fuck us up and the rest of the world. Gabbard says, we are working with Jay Bhattacharya. Sorry. I like him a lot, too. The new NIH director, as well as Secretary Kennedy, RFK Jr., who is looking at the gain-of-function research that, in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world, a lot of them in Ukraine, by the way, is actually U.S.-funded and leads to this dangerous kind of research that, in many examples, has resulted in either a pandemic or other major health issues. Kelly, let me ask you specifically, because we know that Echo Health Alliance, there you go, was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain-of-function reset, right? She meant research. We just have never been able to have somebody say that's true. And it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. Well, have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on? Gabbard, we are working on that with Jay and look forward to being able to share that hopefully very soon. So she's not sharing yet. All right, that's his name, Peter Daszak. That was the guy's name, Echo Health Alliance. He's the one that runs it. Okay, that specific link between gain-of-function research and what we saw with COVID-19. I mean, that would be extraordinary, because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called bat lady, which was a lie, that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. It was a lie. It didn't come from a wet market with bats. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic. He killed millions of people around the world. Gabbard, things that he denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning. That's right, under oath. It's under oath, exactly so it is. Is it any wonder that he sought a preemptive pardon for anything during a certain period of time by President Biden before he left office? Kelly. And then strong-armed and smeared people like Dr. Bhattacharya, anybody who came out and said, I don't know if that's natural, this actually smacks of lab. Yeah, because it's not natural. And you know what? Wuhan is working on another one right now to make, like, I think it was, I can't remember it's a virus that has, like, it was like 1%. It was like 99. COVID was 99% okay. Wouldn't kill anybody, right? That was the precursor to see how we would react to it. And all. The Nipah virus has an 80% kill rate, 80%. And they're playing with that now in Wuhan. And the reason why this is so important is not just what happened in the past. It's because gain-of-function research is happening in biolabs around the world. Quote, I got attacked, and I think you saw this. We've probably talked about in your show before. When I warned against U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine, when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked off for this very reason. Who knows what kinds of pathogens are in these labs, and if released, could create another COVID-like pandemic. And for that, I was called a Russian asset. You're, trumpeting Putin's talking points, all of this nonsense simply for speaking the truth and stating facts that, by the way, are still on U.S. Embassy Ukraine's website today about how the U.S. has funded these biolabs in Ukraine. But in order to prevent another COVID-like pandemic or another major health incident that could affect us in the world, we have to end this gain-of-function research and provide the evidence that shows exactly why and how it's in our best. Yeah, well, to his credit, Barack Obama told Fauci, stop that shit. Now, I don't know if he told him send it overseas or whatever, but he said, stop that shit. It's too dangerous. Fauci said, okay. And then he just funded Wuhan to do the same damn thing.
Well, and it just kept getting more and more wonderfuler. I don't know if you heard, there was an American cattle farmer, dairy cattle farmer, who came down with bird flu. It's the first case, because he said he's had no exposure to birds. First case published in the New England Journal of Medicine. First case of a mammal to mammal transmission of bird flu.
Yeah.
And I can't come up with the reference in my brain, but apparently there's some sort of a vaccine research facility in this country that is doing it. And it is, no, we're not doing gain of function. We were just putting a few things together, and they've come up now. There's a manufactured virus with 100% bird flu, 100% mortality in mice.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But no, we're not doing anything like that.
They're gonna
We
use
wouldn't do that.
Well, China said that they would have like 65 labs by 2030 in their country. Holy shit. You know, I did a video on like a couple of years ago on China. It's still there. It's on China wanting to colonize the US, and their general, when he spoke to the Chi-Coms, he told them that they were going to do it through viruses, computer viruses and bioweapons. So that's what they're doing. They're creating all these labs to create different bioweapons. And what the plan was to hit 4 different regions in the US, all with different viruses, because then they can't help each other when they figure shit out. That's just pure evil.
Okay. Anybody listen? Anybody interested in a break? Want a Dr. Jade moment?
Anybody want a Dr. Jade moment? Because we're going to do it anyway.
Now, I don't know if you guys know, but I don't tell Rich what I'm thinking about.
She doesn't. All right. You tell me when you're ready. I'll play it.
Hey, listen, I haven't seen anything on the chat. Nobody wants a Dr. Jade moment?
They're not listening to us. You guys
Nobody's listening. Nobody's
She's got
listening.
a Dr. Jade moment. Let me see this.
Nothing.
I know Social Security wasn't reporting deaths to the Treasury. Yeah, so Treasury just keeps sending checks out. Yeah, well, that was part of the plan for them. Yeah, it's true. All right, we going with it?
Well, okay, I've got one. Give us a moment.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
It's all you.
Okay, well, something a little off base that I've been thinking about. Neanderthals. Anybody like? I love Neanderthals. Neanderthals are absolute units. They were tough as shit. They were smart. They were, I mean, talk about survivors. They lived through the Ice Age. They were not big and tall, but boy, were they tough. And estimates are like an average female Neanderthal could easily take on a well-trained male athlete today. Anyway, that's just one direction. But Neanderthals, I love Neanderthals. Did anybody realize that Neanderthals are still around? Neanderthals did not disappear.
Really?
Neanderthals did not disappear. It turns out our family tree looks more like a bramble bush than a tree.
Okay.
Because, let's start with this. Neanderthals were Eurasian in distribution. They were in Europe and in Asia. And it turns out that there's an average of 1 to 3% of Neanderthal DNA present in current European populations. Little higher. It's a little higher in Asian populations, up to 4%.
Wow.
And interestingly, in Africans, like zero.
Wow.
What's interesting is they were like really smart. Yeah, I would be a Neanderthal in a heartbeat. Average brain size was 1,500 cc's. Current average human brain size is 1,350 cc's.
Yeah.
I mean, they invented tools. Yeah. They invented inventing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They lived in a very hostile environment. Basically, Anybody? And okay, all of you guys talk about the carnivore diet. Anybody on the carnivore diet? I got to go
Right
with
here. I
gotta
am.
go with this.
I am.
You're going to like this, Rich. Neanderthals, of course, they lived in very harsh times, and
Mhm.
they were hunters. They would eat the occasional berries and stuff, but don't forget that vegetables, like a carrot today, looks nothing like a carrot eons ago. Carrots eons ago were like this little thin root. It wasn't edible. Anyway, they were primarily carnivores. But interestingly, they were like beyond skilled hunters. They were obviously group hunters, and they relied, the vast majority was terrestrial animals. Basically, I guess the mammoth was the big thing. And woolly rhinoceros, woolly mammoth, that kind of thing. Close your ears, anybody who likes horses, because they ate horses. Reindeer up if you were north. But the interesting thing is that when we think of the carnivore diet, what do we think of? Lean meat, right?
Yeah.
No. If you take into account their environment and how many calories they needed, fat was probably a majority, like at least as much consumed as lean meat. They did not cut the fat away from their meat.
Right. Fat is good for you, actually.
They ate meat, but they ate meat as it showed up.
Oh, yeah.
They ate meat as it showed up. And, you know, there were some, mushrooms, pine nuts, moss, even tree bark. There's some tree barks, I guess, that they could eat. But interestingly, recently, and this is just brand new. This is bacon. Yeah,
put it over your chicken before you put it in the oven.
There you go.
It'll
I
change.
make a mean meatloaf wrapped in bacon.
I do that too, but I use the bacon. I use the bacon fat.
So this is what brought this up into my mind. In the past year or so, they've found they've been doing a lot of carbon and nitrogen isotope balance studies on the tissues that they can get. And initially, okay, so what this means is if you're a carnivore, you have certain high ratios, especially in the nitrogen balance. And so they're analyzing these things, and they're finding out, they're going, wow, these guys were like not only carnivores, they were like super carnivores. They've got higher ratios than like freaking lions.
Yeah.
But interestingly, just this year, somebody delved into it, and it turns out that what they were probably eating that caused that, one thing that hadn't been considered that has an incredibly high ratio of that kind of nitrogen, is maggots.
All right, that was our Dr. J. No, I'm kidding.
All of you guys who like the carnivore diet, boy, oh boy. Apparently, the only thing that people can figure out that gave them that kind of ratios, because maggots get in there. I guess the way they break down the meat, it causes the maggots to have an incredible ratio. So the Neanderthals were almost certainly eating the maggots. So not only did they take their meat the way it is, but the way it was, everything included. So what else do I have to say about it? Yeah, they did cook some food, and they did eat a bit of seafood if they were on the coast, but mostly terrestrial herbivores. And so all of you guys who like carnivore diets, I wanna hear from you. How's the maggots doing? How's the maggots doing for you?
I don't eat maggots, but you know, that's that.
Anyway, we need an outro. for my moment. We need
Carnivore. Carnivore is basically anything that comes from an animal.
Yeah.
That's what
So
carnivore
anyway,
is.
yeah, we really need an outro for my moment, because now I'm just suspended in space and everybody's eyes wide, just going, "Oh my God, what did she just say?" So we need an outro. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
All right. To eat to see bugs. All right, cool. In fact, we're gonna have a music thing for a second in the Dynasty of 42.
Came down from the suits on high. Eat the bugs, they said, don't ask why. Slimy, crawling, their plans a lie. No crown, no throne, just dirt to buy. We're not cattle, we're not drones. We got teeth, we got bones. No bugs for kings, no grubs for queens. Keep your larvae, your dystopian dreams. We won't bow, we won't chew. This fight's for steak and me and you. They spin their charts, they cry of doom. Buzzing futures a protein tomb. But I've got bread, I've got stew. You've got nerve, so fight it too. Crunching shells, the banquet's planned. In their hands, all I stand. What's next? The dirt, the sand. Take your worms, leave our land. No bugs for kings, no grubs for queens. Keep your larvae, your dystopian dreams.
What's up, buddy?
We won't bow, we won't chew. This fight's for steak and me and you. No bugs for kings, no grubs for queens. Keep your larvae, your dystopian dreams. We won't bow, we won't chew. This fight's for steak and me and you.
I gave you a great reason to play this song, didn't I?
You did. Yes, you did. Thank you. Thank you very much. I thought, if Jade could come up with something and I could take advantage of it, you guys could hear another No Bugs song. So thank you, Jade. And it was at the tail end of your Dr. Jade moment.
That was it. I hope everybody had a good time.
Yep.
And I'm still looking for a bass player.
Are you really? Okay, let's get back to it. Here's one. The lib nuts are going crazy over this as well. Who would have thought, right? I guess all of us. So, New York Post. DC begins clearing out homeless encampments as arrests top 150 under Trump crackdown.
Okay, who is shocked? Put your hand up.
Yeah, I know. Who's shocked by that? DC officials and volunteers begin taking down a major homeless encampment Thursday amid President Trump's crackdown on crime and push to beautify the nation's capital. Now, the lib nuts are against that. They want our nation's capital to be a shithole like every other blue city. That's what they want. Why? I don't know. It's because earlier I said that they're against every folkway, norm, everything of our traditions that made us America. They hate it. City crews and helpers were spotted clearing out a camp near the Lincoln Memorial and Kennedy Center after denizens were warned Wednesday to move on. MoveOn.org. At least one Bobcat bulldozer and a city dump truck were seen picking up and disposing of tents and other paraphernalia. Think of all the shit that they got to clean up. On Sunday, Trump vowed to push the homeless off the streets of D.C., saying on Truth Social, "We will give you places to stay, but far from the capital." I say send them down to South America. Send them to El Salvador. They'll take care of them. We're going to take all the I'm kidding. Fact checkers. I'm kidding. We're going to take all the graffiti off. We're going to have to remove the tents and the people that are living in our parks. The president said, yeah, you know what happens? We all pay for those damn parks, right? But then the scumbags move in there, piss and shit, and leave their vials and their needles all over the place. And then it's their park. They don't pay anything for the park. It's their park, right? We're going to be redoing the parks, the grasses and all. We're going to be going to Congress for a relatively small amount of money. The Republicans are going to be approving it. Well, we don't have to get any further into that. Oh, wait. I do want to show this one. Sorry. I jumped the gun. So here we go. Yeah. Get out of town. That's my living room, man. That's my toilet at the park. Yeah. That was only on the first half. Oh, man. Going down, jumping in the truck. There we go. Wow.
Industrial scale. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I know. Trump doesn't mess around, man. He really does. Yeah, another Kensington. You're absolutely right, Lou.
Yeah, and I'll mention it again. I said right at the beginning, I've got a new setup here, new camera, new microphone. If anybody wants to give a comment, can you hear me? Can you see me? What do you think?
We hear you.
Yeah, just wondering about the community, if they can hear me, if they can see me, how I look.
You guys can hear Jade, right? Say something, Jade. Mary had
1, 2, 3, 4. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Yeah, just soliciting comments on my new setup.
5x5.
Okay, that sounds like. Okay, so it sounds like it's working.
You guys don't hear her? Yeah.
Oh yeah, come on, Louis. Yeah. Stop freaking around.
All right, here you go. It's the Hillary one. It's another John Solomon story. Wow, it's his thing. Here we go. Shut it down. Bombshell FBI timeline exposes political interference in Clinton corruption probe. Here we go. What's it say? The kid gloves are off. Yeah. FBI Director Kash Patel has uncovered a bombshell memo written in 2017 chronicling the extensive political obstruction that career agents in 3 cities faced from their own bosses and the Obama Justice Department during the 2016 election as they probed whether Hillary Clinton engaged in pay-to-play corruption scheme involving her family foundation, the Clinton Foundation, the money laundering Clinton Foundation. Shut it down, then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates is quoted. She was real quick. She was real quick out of there. Is quoted as demanding in the detailed timeline of political impediments that agents in New York City, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Washington, D.C. reported. The agents tried to get the help of federal prosecutors to determine whether or what crimes occurred while Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State, most notably because at that time her family foundation solicited hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign and U.S. interests with business before her department. The timeline, written by a DOJ lawyer assigned to the FBI under former Bureau Director James Comey, was recently secured by top aides to Patel, along with several corroborating internal emails. It was obtained by Just the News. Together, they make clear that both the DOJ and former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe placed significant impediments in front of agents who believed they had evidence to justify a public integrity criminal case. So Andrew McCabe wasn't fired for that. No, he was fired because he leaked information to the press. He was the guy that would leak information to the press. They would write a story, and then he would use that story to get FISA warrants. That's what they did. It came full circle, and he wasn't fired for any of the crimes he did, because it's a crime. It is literally a crime for an FBI agent to leak something, and it's a fireable offense right away. The reason, and if you lie, if you lie as an FBI agent, you get caught, you're gone, and that's the first thing that they teach you at Quantico. If you ever get caught lying, your career's over, because you can't go into a court of law without the defense attorney saying, didn't you lie before you got caught? Slander or whatever it was, didn't you lie to a court? You can't do it. And he did both, because he leaked and then he lied. And then what happens? He got fired, pension, and then Biden brought him back with back pay. Are you shitting me?
Sorry for being repetitive, but wasn't that their whole scenario, where they would leak something to the New York Times, and then they would use that article?
All bullshit. And what they leaked was lies.
Yeah, they would leak BS to the New York Times, and they would use the New York Times article to go get a FISA warrant.
There you go. The declassified timeline revealed that as early as February 2016, the Justice Department indicated they would not be supportive of an FBI investigation. The timeline also shows that in mid-February 2016, McCabe ordered that no overt investigative steps were allowed to be. In other words, they're protecting Hillary Clinton.
Of course,
without his approval, they couldn't go after the foundation. It says a command he allegedly repeated numerous times over the coming months. So in other words, the story is, we actually know that you guys are scumbags, and we know that you violated laws, you made shit up,
And here you go, insulting scumbags again.
Playing a song, grr. What was that all? All right.
Yeah, Rich. Yes. There you go, insulting scumbags again.
Yeah, I know. I'm a bigot.
You call these guys scumbags. That's just insulting scumbags.
I know. I shouldn't do that. At least they have something. At least they have a use. There you go. Legacy erased. Happy birthday, George Soros. The famous lefty billionaire turns 95, but it's not a happy birthday for the Soros and Son legacy. Let's go. Parker Thayer wrote this. George Soros turns 95 today. It was a couple days ago. And for his birthday present, America brought him the annihilation of his legacy. Soros has been known for two things: making money and spending it on political influence, left-wing political influence. Over the last few years, he has handed over control of his empire to his son, Alex, and Alex seems unable to do either of those things successfully. He's an incompetent F. All right, he's the one that put that photo out that had $47. It had $47 in bills and a bullet hole through a piece of glass. Kill 47. He put that out. The scumbag son of George Soros. First, Alex ruined his reputation for making money. George was once known as the man who broke the Bank of England. He did. He's a piece of shit. Famous for making $1 billion in one day by sniffing out arbitrage opportunities in currency exchange markets. Taking control of the Soros fund management, Alex became the man who broke the bank of Soros. In December 2021, Alex invested $2 billion to buy nearly 20 million shares of an electric vehicle company called Rivian at somewhere between $70 and $100 per share. It was one of the largest one-off investments the fund had ever made. A year later, Rivian shares were selling at just $18, and Soros fund management sold at a loss of what must have been more than $1 billion. HedgeFollow, a website that tracks the ranks of U.S. hedge fund performances, currently gives Soros fund management a performance rating of 1 out of 5 stars. Well, good. I'm surprised the father didn't jump back in. Alex is as talented at making billions vanish as George was at making them appear. But maybe he inherited some of his dad's skill for political maneuvering and network building. He literally came out when it was announced he was taking over his father's empire. He said, I'm worse than my father. Don't worry about it. Well, he was right about that. What he meant, though, was he was worse in supporting radical woke ideology. Well, no, not really. Alex became famous for posting photos of himself posing with Democrat politicians and liberal world leaders, but the actual influence of George's network seems to have been greatly diminished, perhaps related to the massive losses of Rivian. On Rivian in July 2023, Open Society Foundations, and now that's George Soros' thing, announced that it would be laying off 40% of its staff worldwide, halting all new grants until February 2024, and completely changing its operating model. What had once been an international network of influence peddling was slashed to the bone. And that's all we need to know. George Soros can die a very slow and painful death, for as far as I hear. Can see who? Who can you see?
I imagine she's responding to my request.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, it was just now.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you know that the Canadian government is still pushing and subsidizing electric vehicles at the same time as it's putting the screws to the Alberta oil and caps on how much they can pump, how much they can sell?
Well, did Biden get a job up there running the country?
You know,
He did the same thing.
Might as well have.
EV mandates. He even took money. What was it? He took money out of Obamacare, I think it was, and put it towards EV mandates.
Yeah, not only EV mandates, but they're subsidizing the industry.
Thank you, dear.
They're subsidizing the industry. Now, any industry that can't survive without government handouts, what should happen to it? Any volunteers of
they should collapse.
suggestions?
Yeah,
They should like. It's like Javier Milei said when he was cleaning out his government. Afuera, afuera.
Yeah.
It means get the fuck out.
Right. I'm letting all the banners go by. Please hit the like button. There you go.
Yeah, everybody. Looks like we got 18 likes and 22 watching. We got 4 slackers out there.
Oh, you're on delay? I don't know. Oh, yeah, because she said it later. I don't know. I don't think that's what she was talking about. Okay, so let's go here. Here's something that'll never happen, but should. Think about it. Wars all over the world. Trump gets in, they're ending. So 7 nations endorsed Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, President of Peace. I said it'll never happen. They'll never give it to him. At least 7 nations across the Middle East, Asia, and Africa have called for President Trump to receive a Nobel Peace Prize, with the White House celebrating the endorsements as proof that he is the president of peace. A list shared by White House officials on Tuesday touts endorsements from Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, President Ilham, what these freaking names, man. Okay, a bunch of people. There you go. So let's see, Nobel Peace. Oh wow, look at that. It's all those names.
But you know, if he would have turned, if he would have turned around and said, "I'm all in on the Ukraine conflict," and we're going.
Oh yeah. Oh, he would have got it. Yeah. But anyway, does anybody know what made Nobel, like what Nobel did and why he created a peace prize? Anybody know?
I know.
Not you. Not you. Not you. We know you know.
I know what he's famous for.
I know. Does anybody else other than Dr. Jade know what Nobel was famous for that caused him later on, out of sheer liberal guilt, to start the Nobel Peace Prize? Yes, thank you. Anglo got it. TNT.
Yep.
Yes, you got it.
That's
Chris got
exactly
it too.
correct.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. See, we have the smartest freaking people. I love this. So Donald Trump,
And they're smarter. They're smarter about Neanderthals now.
I know. That's because of you, because of your moment. You had a moment.
I had a moment.
Trump played an integral role in getting the decades-long conflict between Armenia and
Azerbaijan.
Yeah, whatever. I'll let you say it every time. To formally end last week, with the leaders of all 3 nations meeting at the White House to usher in a U.S. brokered peace agreement. With this accord, we finally succeeded in making peace, and we just left the Oval Office, where we signed voluminous documents and very important elements of the agreement, Trump said Friday. The West Asian countries agreed to what will be called the Trump route for international peace and prosperity to allow, what's that word? Full access
Azerbaijan.
to the territory of Nakhchivan, which sits it's southwest of Armenia. The countries of Armenia and Azerbaijan I know. Are committing to stop all, you should read it, are committing to stop all fighting forever, open up commerce, travel, and diplomatic relations, and respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity. All right. So the whole point is Trump had a bunch of people, leaders of the world, 7 of them, endorse him. I guarantee he will not see one.
No,
I guarantee it.
he
He
won't
will
get it.
never see one. All right, now we go.
Yeah, didn't he? He also stopped the thing in the Congo. I think it was in the Congo.
Yeah,
And I can't even remember them all now. He's been
China.
no,
No, they actually invented spaghetti. It wasn't the Italians.
did.
The Italians invented ice cream.
yeah, and the Chinese invented gunpowder. That's
Yes, they
different.
did. Yeah,
That's different. That's not
Yeah.
TNT.
right. Okay, here's
I
one.
know, mate.
Hang on.
I don't even want to. Well, first of all, I don't want to sing it because I'm not a singer, and I don't want to sing it because we'll get a rip from
Right.
the AC/DC song.
There you go. So this one is for our UK friends. J.D. Vance meets Farage, another right-wing populist in Britain. J.D. Vance, the vice president, sat down with Nigel Farage, who I like, actually, a longtime supporter of President Trump, whose party, Reform UK, is leading in British polls. All right, how many here in the UK like Nigel? Show of hands,
Yeah,
please. Anybody listening? Hello?
you should.
Hang on.
Do you know how to put up a poll? We need a poll.
Yeah, I should. Here we go.
Anyway, everybody just say, do you like Nigel Farage?
Yeah, just I'll read it, and you guys tell us whether you do, because otherwise that's the only reason I'm reading this, because you guys like them, and I do too. If you do. Vice President J.D. Vance began his family vacation in England last Friday with a lightning round of carp fishing. He hasn't slowed down since, taking part in conference calls about Ukraine, huddling with Britain's Foreign Minister David Lammy, and meeting fellow right-wing political figures. I didn't know there were any other than Nigel. On Wednesday morning, it was the turn of Nigel Farage, the leader of the insurgent anti-immigrant party Reform UK. He sat down with Mr. Vance, according to an official familiar with the vice president's schedule, who spoke on condition of anonymity, meaning he doesn't exist, because he said that this was a personal trip. Mr. Farage confirmed the meeting, saying in a statement, "Good to catch up with my old friend J.D. Vance this morning. Everything we discuss remains confidential."
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Lord. Oh, Lord.
I'm happy about that. I don't
Yeah.
want to give the plans away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
No,
you know,
I'm
you're
saying
right. The lib nuts are going to go nuts over that. What are you plotting?
my good friend,
Fascism. Yeah.
my good friend, J.D. Vance.
Yeah. Well.
42 says he's the least bad.
Oh, who? J.D. Vance or Farage? Yeah.
Farage. 42 says he's the least bad.
Earlier, the official said Mr. Vance met Robert Jenrick, a conservative lawmaker who is viewed a rising force on the right flank of the Conservative Party, but he did not meet the party's leader, Kemi Badenoch. I hope I got that right. An omission that both sides chalked up to logistical hurdles. The vice president met with a number of people during his trip to the United Kingdom, Mr. Vance's press secretary, Taylor Van Kirk, said in a statement. He specifically tried to see Kemi, a friend of his, but a meeting was not possible due to their scheduling conflicts. Okay, so we know that. So he met with him. Let's see the pictures. These are nice pictures. Hold on, that wasn't part of it. There's Farage. And they have one of him fly fishing. No, that's my next one. I'll go to the next one. Here we go. So the next one it's again about Vance and the UK, Nigel Farage. Okay. So J.D. Vance meets Nigel Farage for breakfast in the Cotswolds. Okay. So J.D. Vance met Nigel Farage for breakfast on Wednesday as he mixes business with pleasure during his UK summer. There they are, fly fishing. Okay. The U.S. Vice President, his wife Usha, and their 3 children spent the weekend with his friend David Lammy, the foreign secretary at, okay, I'm sorry with these names, achieving it. I don't want to botch it, so I'm not going to say it. The Times understands that on Monday, Vance enjoyed a barbecue with his friends James Orr, the Cambridge academic, Danny Kruger and Tory MP, and Thomas Skinner, the former Apprentice contestant, with whom Vance has bonded over social media. Oh, that's crazy. Look at that. There they are. On Tuesday night, Vance held a 1-hour, one-to-one meeting with Robert Jenrick, the shadow Justice Secretary and former Tory leadership hopeful. A source said this led to speculation that Vance had chosen to see Jenrick rather than Kemi Badenoch, the Conservative Party leader. So I wonder why. Issuing a quick clarification, however, Taylor Van Kirk, Vance's press secretary, said the vice president met with a number of people during his trip to the United Kingdom. He specifically tried to see Kemi, a friend of his, but a meeting was not possible due to their conflicting schedules. Okay. Any suggestion otherwise is false. The Conservative Party said would speak to Vance this week, but that scheduling time for them would meet to meet in person had proven difficult. Vance has taken an increasing interest in Farage's Reform UK. In July, it was reported that the previous month he had asked Lord Mandelson, the UK's ambassador to Washington, so what's going on with reform? I see that they're doing very well. Well, that's good. Let's see what this is. See how his cast.
Hey, it's Adam Grant from Work Life, a podcast from TED.
Show us. I don't care. All right, let's see what other pictures there are. Oh, okay, cool. Here we go. JD Vance, they're just what? Bullies not welcome here. JD Vance is a bully?
And a war criminal.
How's he a war criminal? Carefully now. Go back to Gilead. What? Gilead. Gilead. A Handmaid's Tale reference. I'm thinking Rolling Hills, not rolling back. Climate action. Yeah, they're all lefties. Screw them. There we go. What else is there? Fascists not welcome here. Stop Vance funding genocide. Jackasses. There's jackasses in every culture, I guess.
Yeah.
There's
here's one.
everywhere.
Here's one that I just noticed that you've got to read. The Harvard course.
Oh, the Harvard? Yeah. There we go. This, you guys, if you know anything about Southern politics, you're going to love this one with Democrats. A Harvard course called Stacey Abrams a political mastermind. She never got to the state level, ever. And she tried. Oh, did she try?
She won the governor race, you bigot.
Oh, yeah. This is critical race theory course, also champions Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama, or should I say Michael. Harvard University students can learn about the political mastermind of Stacey Abrams this semester in a class that explicitly says it is taught through a critical race theory lens. Guilty, right? From First Lady Michelle Obama to political mastermind Stacey Abrams to Vice President Kamala Harris, Black women have left their stamps on 21st century policy. Look, guys, do me a favor. And I'm not trying, well, I guess I am trying to be insulting. That's Stacey Abrams, okay? What is it about her that the Democrats keep going to try to make her like a big success in the party? What is it about her? You got to get the wife? You got to pick her up? All right, man. Good to see you. Good to see you, Chris. Let's see. Mandelson was minister without portfolio. There's kind of qualifications whatsoever. Oh, my sister's here. Someone said hello. Oh, there she is. What's up, sis? How you doing? Send my love to everyone, please. If they're not watching. And why?
Maybe it's because she was the president of Earth.
Yeah, she was. Who's American? Wait a minute. Buy American. Oh, yeah, because...
And if anybody doesn't understand the reference, she was on an episode of Star Trek New Generation, and she played the president of Earth, and she was all there for all of about like 60 seconds.
Yeah, president of Earth. There you go. You got it. Let's see. All right, so let's go back to it. Yeah, why her? What is up with her? Like, yikes. All right, so Abrams pictured is a former Democratic. She was a state. I thought she was local. All right, state representative who lost the 2018 and 2022 gubernatorial elections in Georgia, but she won 2018. She was the governor, not Brian Kemp.
Just ask her. She'll tell you.
She'll tell you, yeah. As noted by the Washington Free Beacon, she claims the 2018 election was rigged and stolen. You know why? Because more people voted for her opponent. That's why.
That's the evidence. That's evidence right there.
I pointed this out before. She got caught by the Secretary of State during the 2018 election that she was rigging registrations. What she did was she did the old, I talked about it before, the way they call it the spigot system, where they buy the voter rolls, because you can do that. You can pay for the voter rolls and they'll give it to you. And they match them up to the postal database and the Social Security database. That way they found out who moved out of the state and who died. People who would never know they just voted, right? So they use those, and her group, I think it was called Fair Fight. I know that's her group, but I think that was the group that was helping. Don't quote me on that. Fact checkers! I don't know. So what happened was the Secretary of State caught her people using those dead and people that moved out of the state's names to register people to vote. And why didn't he say anything? Because it was Brian Kemp who was running against her for governor. And she has a big mouth on blaming Republicans for voter suppression of black people. So he feared that she was going to try and do that if he mentioned it. And that's how much of a scumbag she is. And then our friend Mark Davis, who we bring on a lot, he's the guy that helped the Trump legal team count the votes and prove that they cheated in Georgia. Well, her group, Fair Fight, took him to court for doing that. And he just told me there's a whistleblower out there who just reported there's this huge Armstrong Williams who I used to really admire. I thought he was great. Now it turns out he's nothing more than a scammer rhino, because him and rhinos with a lot of Democrats, all right, they've been scamming people in foreign countries and making millions of dollars off it. And a whistleblower just came out and slammed them all. And the funny thing is, they had all these texts that the whistleblower sent out of all this information, right? It hit, I think, Stacey Abrams. It hit Fannie Willis. It hit, who was the other one that hit? There were a lot, but a lot of Democrats. Oh, and the January 6th committee. And here in the text, it names Mark. And in every case, they said, do not subpoena Mark Davis under any circumstances, because they know he's an expert witness, so he knows how to handle himself on the stand. And he would have told the truth that they cheated their asses off. Fannie Willis said, told all prosecutors, do not subpoena Mark Davis. We don't want him testifying. Imagine that. And they kept it so quiet. Nobody else knew that Mark knew all that info, even though he published his findings, and a lot of people did know, but nobody involved in the case contacted him over that. So now he's like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen to me now. Because now they know he was the guy that nailed them. From First Lady, okay, race, gender. All right, here it is. From First Lady Michelle Obama to political mastermind Stacey Abrams to Vice President Kamala Harris, black women, left and grassroots organizing. The course description for race, gender, and law through the archive. You would think that after 2024, that these lib nuts in academia would have learned that nobody really wants these race, gender, and law classes. It's a bunch of horse shit. Abrams, the former Democrat, she claims that it was rigged and stolen. Okay, that's where we were. All right, sorry. So the course will also teach about the role of non-binary activists in the 20th century. There were non-binary in the 20th? Don't they mean 21st? Oh, well, I didn't know that existed back then. I thought they just made it up recently. Quote, this course sets out to look back on the 20th century to examine conditions under which black women lived in the early days of Jim Crow by Democrats, and the role that black women and non-binary people. Do you see that? They're going back to Jim Crow days and bringing non-binary people in, have played in shaping politics, grassroots organizing, the legal bar, and higher education during Jane Crow by Democrats and beyond, according to the description. Though many scholars argued that the law is autonomous, critical league studies scholars and critical race theorists, liars, argue that the law is subjective, the description also states. The class will help students see the subjectivity of black women and non-binary people who help push for social and legal reform of Democrats. See, the problem is these lefties, They don't blame the Democratic Party for everything that happened to black people in this country. They blame America. It wasn't America. It was the Democratic Party. The class instructor, Professor Maisha Eatman, has other interesting views about race. I'm sure she does. Quote, racism is a virus and white privilege is a drug, she wrote in November 2020. Black radicalism is the only radical within a system ruled by and built upon white supremacy. There you go. Everything's white supremacy. Snow White was a white supremacist. Did you know that? Abrams herself has parlayed her losses into other opportunities. In 2023, following her second consecutive gubernatorial loss, Howard University hired Abrams as its Ronald W. Walters Endowed Chair for Race and Black Politics. Holy crap. In this role, Abrams...
That exists?
Yeah, I know. And people are spending money on it. Your tuition goes toward that. In this role, Abrams will... This is why... Think about this. This is why Mondami in New York is leading in the polls. That's why he's going to win. Because all these freaking universities, what did they do? They indoctrinated kids to come out of college hating America, thinking that communism is the answer. Because all these lefties that are... think about it. These kids, they grew up in a household with liberal parents, okay, who probably let them do whatever they want, never argued back with them because, you know, why would you if you're a liberal, right? And you want to teach them liberalism, right? So they never went through, this is just my opinion, they never went through the normal rebel phase that you go with your parents, right? So then they go off to college and they get these liberal jackass professors that let them say and do whatever they want as well. They never argue with them, you know, because they're liberal. You're not allowed to argue with a student, right? And then they go on campus and they run around going crazy. Well, because they never went through that phase. See, that phase, we all did it, right? We all rebelled against our parents at one point. You have to, right? So this is why these people, I say this all the time, this is why these kinds of kids grow up to be adults who are wearing pink pussy hats and they're going out into protest anything at all that sounds like parental authority. And it all starts in the colleges. The chair will inspire research and encourage broad discussions of scholarship for real-world solutions to complex, seemingly insoluble societal problems that adversely affect African diasporic communities and other vulnerable populations. Her hiring followed a trend I noted in the Washington Examiner in 2023. Political losers, especially Democrats, can usually find refuge in higher education. That's exactly correct.
Of course. And the only good thing about New York is, and I forget who originally said this, but the
42,
best,
God bless you. Sorry,
but
hold on. 42,
yeah.
God bless you, man. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Thank
Oh,
you,
is
sir.
today VJ Day?
Huh?
Is today VJ Day?
Belated happy victory in Japan Day.
Victory in Japan.
Oh, it probably was. Today was probably VJ Day.
It's not
VD
VD and it's
Yeah.
not BJ. I don't want to be hearing that, okay?
The VJJ. No, it's not any of that.
And it's not a VJJ.
There you go. None of that. Sorry, man. There will always be an ulcer that's free. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because it was like
Absolute, guys.
it was like a week after Nagasaki, I think, that the surrender was something like that. So yeah, it would be right around now.
And so what happened after we just defeated the nation? Russia jumped in and declared war so they could take an island. It's true. All right, next one.
But what I was going to say is,
Go ahead.
I forget who originally said it, but you know, you get these socialist libnuts, and the best way to destroy it is give them what they want.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Mondami gets elected, which it sounds like he probably will, and everybody's going to see what happens to New York. And personally,
Not best.
I couldn't give two flying Fanny Adams about what happens to New York. I hope they just stew in their own sweat.
But you know what? They will find ways to blame conservatives. That's what they always do. Or racism. Conservatives or racism. Sexism.
Well, all of
non-binary.
the companies and the investor class that moves out of New York, They're the problem.
Yeah. Sis, how you guys doing?
Yeah, but they're going to be the problem. It's the investor class and the companies that leave New York. It's not Mandami's fault. It's their fault.
Yeah. Well, they're all voting for him because they're all a bunch of commies and they believe that he can give them what they want. He can't. And they will find out. But you know what? They'll get through it. They've gotten through shitty times before, like with Jenkins. Holy crap. Or Dinkins. That was his name. Sorry. I really screwed that up. Yeah, it was Dinkins.
But anyway,
Dr. Jade, I'll never go to New York City again. Yeah, I won't either. I will never go there. I don't like going into Philly, but
yeah, I have no interest
That's
whatsoever in going to New York City. Zero.
Yeah,
Zip.
me either.
Nada.
Yeah,
None.
no. But they
Doesn't
got the
happen.
shows. Yeah, and yes, he does have a knife. That kind of thing. Yeah. No thanks. The Dinkins. Yeah. Mr. Dinkins. He was the guy that it was Giuliani ran the first time and he lost. And that's when they started saying, when will things get bad enough that they'll elect a Republican, right? You would think right now, after all that shit they did to their own people during COVID, they were some of the worst. We don't talk about that because we like to go off on what's his name, Gavin Newsom. But
Nope. They're not there. They're not there yet.
we're doing good. Reading anything other than, sorry, I'm using a microphone. Oh, that's okay. I'm using a microphone too. So. Oh, it picked up some of the TV. That's funny. Well, Jade made a statement tonight and my Google went off.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. A machine. That's not anything personal for me. Yeah. Don't have fishing lines surrounding New York City. Yeah, really. Oh, you're watching the summit. Cool.
Okay.
That's cool. All right. Next one. Boasberg.
Do we care about Bill Clinton?
Yeah, we'll get to him. But this one, wait a minute. I sent you a regular message. Could you please right now? Hold on. Where'd you send it? Did you text it to me? Oh, yeah, you did. We shall talk. We shall talk afterwards, Care. We'll talk afterwards. All right. I'll say yes right now, but we got to talk afterwards. All right. So don't worry about it, kiddo. All right. So here, Boasberg, that judge, that prick judge, is the one that had to be slapped down. They went after Trump's policies. Remember this guy, this loser? All right. So Boasberg's contempt backfires. The case that put a judge in his place. This is going to be good. So it opens like this. A federal district judge decided he could micromanage deportation flights in real time. Then the appellate court yanked the reins and reminded everyone that courts are not mini state departments. Exactly. On August 8th, 2025, a divided D.C. Circuit panel vacated Judge James Boasberg's criminal contempt gambit against Trump officials over the Venezuela to El Salvador deportation flights. A clean 2-1 victory for the administration and a sharp curb on trial court overreach in foreign affairs turf. Read about it.
And that's in D.C. That's in D.C.
I know. Crazy, huh? Start with the players. In the district court, Chief Judge James E. Boasberg, dickhead, presided over JGG versus Trump, a class action habeas mashup brought by Venezuelan detainees swept under the administration's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act. Boasberg's own words are here. Well, whatever. His April 16th memorandum finding probable cause, just like the big court found. They found in the Constitution the right to kill your baby. It's in there, they said. Anyway, to pursue criminal contempt against the government for defying his March 15 orders. You know what? The Supreme Court told the Trump administration, ignore them. That's basically what they said. They can't rule anything outside of a district. Ignore them. You don't have to answer.
Whether anybody is for or against abortion, my question is, how much hallucinogens do you have to take to find abortion in the Constitution?
I know you could read the Constitution. You could hold it up to the light, upside down, and pour lemon juice on it, and it's not in there. You won't see it.
It's not there.
It's not there.
It's not there.
It's the core of the contempt story. And it's public. The appellate panel was Judges Gregory Katsis, all right, and Naomi Rao. Yeah, all right, in the majority, with Judge Cornelia Pillar dissenting, of course, with a name like Cornelia. The majority's bottom line, no criminal contempt case here. The order's contours weren't clear and unambiguous enough to support criminal punishment. The facts were fluid, and the kind of micromanagement Boasberg attempted risked trenching on executive control of international removals and diplomatic coordination. Exactly. He's not the frickin' State Department. The press read it the same way. Axios, AP, and Reuters, and a clear write-up at Courthouse News confirming the 2-to-1 split and remand mechanics.
Can we make fun of Cornelia?
I think so. Yes. I don't know what she looks like, so fact checkers, we're just having a good time. All right. Just so you guys know, fact checkers.
Yeah, just pretend that we said something vicious but incredibly funny about Cornelia.
There you go. Here's the blow by blow. And Cornelia was involved. See what I did there? All right. In the early hours of March 15, plaintiffs, the 5 Venezuelan men who were sent to this country by their government to cause mayhem and havoc, sued and sought a TRO while the White House finalized a proclamation invoking the Alien Enemies Act for Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang the State Department had tied to terrorism. Boasberg held a same-day hearing, orally directed the government not to remove class members under the proclamation, and issued a written minute order that evening. Minute? All right, whatever. And yet 2 ICE contract flights took off from Texas during a mid-hearing recess, and in the early hours of March 16, passengers were transferred to El Salvador Sicat mega prison. That factual narrative, timelines, aircraft transfers, and even too late social media taunt from President Bukele comes right out of Boasberg's opinion. The government's posture was consistent. The planes departed before any written order. Once outside U.S. airspace, the D.C.'s court grip was murky. It didn't have a grip at all. It was never in D.C. So it's a district court. And in any event, the Supreme Court would soon vacate Boasberg's TRO, temporary restraining order. On April 7, the Supreme Court did just that, per curiam 5-4, vacating Boasberg's temporary restraints. I think it was that real big disappointment, Amy Coney Barrett, that joined the Libnuts on the court, restraints and funneling any challenges into habeas in the proper venue. That short order is the critical backdrop to the contempt fight. Okay. Boasberg's rejoinder, again in his April 16 memo, was the classic Walker v. City of Birmingham principle. Court orders must be obeyed, even if later found erroneous. You comply first, appeal second. Bullshit. When a judge makes a ruling and he's stepping on Article 2 authority, even Article 1, when he's stepping on Article 2 authority, no, he doesn't have the right to do it. You shouldn't even listen to him. Freaking Joe Biden gave double-barreled middle finger to the Supreme Court over him buying votes by cutting people's tuition bills, right? He cataloged what he viewed as willful defiance. Yeah, they didn't do what I told them to do. Invoked Supreme Court authority supporting contempt, even when jurisdiction is later questioned and formally found probable cause to proceed criminally. That's all in the 4 corners of his opinion and the string sites he deploys. The government sprinted to the D.C. court, of course. In April, a divided panel stayed the contempt track, an omen that Boasberg might not survive appellate review. Coverage at ABC News and others captured the pause. Now, what I want, I'm not going to read anymore because we know what happened. What I want is judges like Boasberg to be pulled before Congress and to be grilled and say, what makes you think you can rule outside of a district? What makes you think that you can tell a sitting president that he doesn't have total authority over immigration laws for enforcing them? Because all you have to do is take one of them down and the rest will follow. They're a bunch of cowards. They're doing it because the Democrats are telling them to, because they don't, and Democrats in Congress can threaten these judges. Knock their money down, no more pay increases, knock benefits away. They can do all that shit, which they threaten them all the time.
Yeah, but they really took Boasberg down a peg. Not only did they reverse his decision, but they put out a writ of mandamus, which is like they never do that.
Right, I know.
And basically, that's like a kick in the nads for him.
Yeah.
And I don't think he expected the DC circuit to support him.
Yeah.
Because of course the DC circuit's going to support all of this crazy radical leftist crap.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm trying to find a good one to do.
Yeah, so the writ of mandamus basically says you will comply.
Yeah. We're going to do one on Melania. So Melania Trump puts Hunter Biden on $1 billion notice over alleged defamatory comments, and he has a response. I'll play the response. He's playing with fire. Okay, First Lady Melania Trump has put former first son Hunter Biden on a $1 billion notice for allegedly making false, defamatory, disparaging, and inflammatory statements. About her. It was about the Epstein list, right? Melania Trump's lawyers have reportedly asked Hunter Biden to remove and retract his statements or else face legal action. They have also demanded that he issue an apology. The letter from Melania Trump's attorney, Alejandro Brito, was reportedly sent to Hunter Biden's attorney, Abby Lowell, on August 6th. The defamatory comments regarding Melania Trump were reportedly issued by Hunter Biden during an interview with Channel 5 with Andrew Callaghan, posted on YouTube per Fox News, in which he said convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein introduced her to Donald Trump. It's not true. Immediately retract the false, defamatory, disparaging, and inflammatory statements made about Mrs. Trump, the letter said. Failure to comply will leave Mrs. Trump with no choice but to pursue any legal rights and remedies available to, this is all legal speak, to recover it from the overwhelming financial and reputational harm that you have caused her to suffer. So they wrote that. Now,
so here's a question. Who is a worse, more despicable example of Homo sapiens? Schiff, or Hunter Biden?
Oh, that's a good one. Well,
isn't that? I mean, think about it.
Hunter Biden, I would consider Hunter Biden. I think he's criminal, but he's a victim of his father, because Hunter Biden was a drug addict, and his father. What father would make their drug-addled son go to foreign governments in their lands and demand money for pay for play? What father would do that and say he loves his kids, right? Adam Schiff for brains is just a complete, total, corrupt piece of crap. He's as corrupt as the day is long.
So you ease up on Hunter because of his victimhood a little bit.
With his father, yes. His father was the real piece of shit there.
Oh, yeah. The old man, no doubt, absolutely 100% agree with you. Hunter's also a low-life piece of shit.
Oh, he is. There's no doubt. He spent like $1 million on Russian hookers.
Yeah, but he learned how to be a shit. He learned how to be a piece of shit from the best.
Right. That is true.
But when you were reading that story, it got me to thinking Hunter Biden or Adam Schiff.
Oh, well, now wait do you see this one? Okay, this one's very interesting. So, Hunter Biden responds to $1 billion legal threat from Melania Trump. We don't even have to read it. Okay, well, let's see. What does this say? I forget.
Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep. Anyway, why do we think
in the back.
they don't want the files released? I don't know. I think John, that thing that John Heilman says is like a long time ago. I think is the most accurate kind of assessment of them, which is everything is projection or confession. Everything. So when he puts out that tweet and he says Epstein now is the Russia hoax or the Hunter Biden laptop.
The laptop from hell, which the Democrats swore came from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom.
Like, I wonder if it works. Do you know what I mean?
All right. So that guy, I'm going to go back. The guy in the corner there, see him with the red hat?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever the color of the hat is. Okay. Here's the interview. The infamous interview. It's the same
We're
guy.
here maybe to give you the platform to apologize to the
We're here
First
for
Lady
balls.
for your statements that you made about her possible connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
Fuck that. That's not going to happen.
You hear that? Fuck that. That's not going to happen. FAFO. He's about to find out.
You know?
Because you don't fuck with Melania. You just don't. Schiff, rope, plastic wrap, duct tape, and cinder block. There you go. Oh, you can't use that word, dude. Oh, forget about it. Okay. I thought you wrote something else. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't say that word.
Forget about it. Be careful how you pronounce it.
Forget about it. Piece of shit is nothing. Be sniffed at by me. That's true.
Yeah, I think they're both at the bottom of the barrel in my view.
Well, both. Yeah, but Adam Schiff, see, Biden never did anything to harm Trump per se. Adam Schiff went out of his way. He abused his own authority to attack an innocent man. And there's nothing lower than that.
Adam Schiff is just a narcissistic, power mad.
Oh, yeah. He's a piece of crap.
Sociopath, if you ask me.
So
and by the way, if anybody's wondering, that is my own opinion. I got nothing to do about anything. I know nothing about it.
It's
I
just
got
her
nothing.
opinion.
I have no personal knowledge. Don't sue me, bro. I know nothing about him.
Yeah, you won't get much.
Besides, you wouldn't get much.
Yeah, Caroline Leavitt lays down the gauntlet over Gavin Newsom's latest threats. I love this woman. I just do. White House press sec, because she's got it, man. She's not afraid of anyone, and she's in her 20s.
You mean you like her better than you like what was her name? Not Caroline. What was her name?
Karine Jean-Pierre.
Karine. Yeah.
Better
than Karine
Jean-Pierre. Woman who is history. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So White House
woman who is self-appointed.
Yeah. Yeah. She was the greatest, wasn't she? And White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt on Tuesday responded to California Governor Gavin Newsom's threat to sue the Trump administration over a proposed settlement with the University of California, Los Angeles, urging him to follow through on his statements. This dispute, it stems from the Department of Justice's proposal that UCLA pay $1 billion to settle allegations of anti-Semitism on campus. The proposal also calls for the university to contribute $172 million to a claims fund for victims of civil rights violations in exchange for the restoration of $584 million in federal research funding. But let's get down. Here we go.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, okay.
Great.
So Gavin Newsom has said that California is going to sue in response to the government's demand for $1 billion from UCLA over the DOJ's anti-Semitism findings. Newsom has called this extortion and ransom. So I'm wondering what the White House's response is to Newsom on UCLA.
Bring it on, Gavin. This administration is well within its legal right to do this, and we want to ensure that our colleges and our universities are respecting the First Amendment rights and the religious liberties of students on their campuses, and UCLA has failed to do that. And I have a whole list of examples that I will forward to Gavin Newsom's press office if he hasn't seen them himself.
And he will never actually take a look at them. That's the problem with Gavin Newsom.
Well,
Gavin Newsom can't read him. Gavin Newsom can't read him anyway.
Yeah, talk about a narcissist. Oh my God.
Yeah, he can't read. A lot of people don't know that.
Well, yeah. I think
severe dyslexia, which is why he doesn't have a teleprompter when he gives a speech. He has a very incredibly good.
He just has a very good memory.
Memorizes every speech he's going to give. Yeah, he can't. He can't, and which is why also, if you just argue back with him with the slightest bit of logic, you can completely screw him up. Yep. Adam, what was his last name? The comedian has a podcast. He's real good. He did that. Yeah, Gavin can't read. That's true. I couldn't do that. I'm gonna fuck yourself.
Oh, I couldn't do anything related to politics. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I couldn't either. And you know why? I was asked to run in Pennsylvania. I was asked to run for a state level, and I was like, no. It was years ago. And what's called and they said why? And I gave the Rush Limbaugh answer. And the answer was because the only way you can get elected is by going like this, right? And they want favors when you get in office, and the favors aren't money back, and you can't do that and be like an honest politician.
And
you just can't.
My reason, I think, is even more basic than that. I 100% agree with that, but same reason I could have never been a lawyer. I mean, if I was a lawyer, I would do like contract law or something. But Can you imagine being a trial lawyer where your whole life is in conflict, where every minute of every day somebody is trying to prove you an idiot or prove you wrong or something along
absolutely.
those lines? I just couldn't do it. So with true and or fake stories going around, that's what politics is all about. People are trying to get under your skin and embarrass you. And the interesting thing about me is that people who try to piss me off usually succeed. So
yeah. All right, here's another good one. There we go. It's about Pelosi. Shit, I thought former. Oh, there it is. Okay. Whew. Okay. Former Capitol Police Chief publicly confirms Pelosi set the table for January 6th. All right. This guy isn't fucking around either. Nancy Pelosi is probably kicking herself over her most recent X post because it opened a can of worms she never wanted spilled. But TDS got in the way and she couldn't help herself. In a desperate effort to smear President Trump's plan to clean up DC's deadly streets, Pelosi took to X and claimed that Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th, a claim that instantly blew back on her in a big way, dredging up an old debate about her role that day. Wait till you hear what he says about this. But even worse for Pelosi was the blistering response from former Capitol Police Chief Sund, which confirmed what most of us already knew, that Pelosi's actions and decisions shaped what happened on January 6th. Here's what she said in the post. Donald Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th, and she had a glass in her hand, when our Capitol was under violent attack and lives were at stake. Now he's activating the DC Guard to distract from his incompetent mishandling of tariffs, healthcare. That's another thing. Digressing here. That's another thing. These Democrats, they say things. They're all doing it too. They're saying, well, you know what it is. The Republicans and Donald Trump have been an incredible failure. They've done nothing for the American people. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. He brought in over $13 trillion of investments, and all those buildings and whatnot are being built right now to bring in all those jobs. What do you mean that they've been a complete failure?
And you know what I have to say to Nancy Pelosi?
What's that?
How about no?
Of course, Pelosi is talking about President Trump's big, beautiful plan to take back our nation's capital from the inept liberal leaders who have let criminals run the show. Trump has deployed FBI agents and the National Guard to clean up the streets. This move, and the National Guard are not doing anything that the FBI are doing. They're just standing there to protect them. This move comes as crime in D.C. is soaring. It's so bad that police have been handing out air tags to residents so they can track their cars when they inevitably get stolen. All right. So here we go. Sane Americans are applauding President Trump's move, yada, yada, yada. I want to get to Stephen. Here we go. This was his response to her tweet. Ready? Ma'am, it is long past time to be honest with the American people. On January 3, that's 3 days prior, I requested National Guard assistance, but your Sergeant at Arms denied it. The Sergeant at Arms reports to the Speaker of the House. Now, all the fake news said that's just not true. Yeah, it is. It is. And the Sergeant at Arms in the Senate reports to the Senate Majority Leader. That's not true. Yeah, it is. Okay. So under federal law 2 U.S.C. 1970, I was prohibited from calling them without specific approval. That same day, Carol Corbin at the Pentagon offered National Guard support, but I was forced to decline because I lacked the legal authority. On January 6th, while the Capitol was under attack, and despite my repeated calls, your Sergeant at Arms again denied my urgent requests for over 70 agonizing minutes. Now, guys, think about it. What happened in those 70 minutes? He's talking about when the riot broke out. What happened in those 70 minutes? the majority of everything that happened in the riot, running it up the chain for your approval. When I needed assistance, it was denied. When it suited you, you offered fencing topped with concertina wire and surrounded the Capitol with thousands of armed National Guard troops. What he's talking about there was she actually told the Sergeant at Arms, stand down, do not accept any National Guard, because we want this thing to explode, to make Trump's accusations that we stole the election look like he's a criminal and no one will believe him. But then afterwards, she ordered the National Guard troops and the concertina wire and all that, the fencing around the Capitol, to continue the lie that Donald Trump sent his evil forces in to attack the people inside the Capitol. So she spent all that money on bringing the Guard in and extra cops and all that shit to continue the lie of January 6th. That blistering post from Chief Son leaves little doubt. Many believe Pelosi didn't want the National Guard on January 6th, arguing that she and her allies allowed the Fedsurrection enough time to unfold and create the drama and storyline they and the media could use against President Trump and his movement. After all, if the National Guard had stepped in and ended it quickly, Dems wouldn't have gotten what they needed, their so-called insurrection. There appeared to be a concerted effort by Dems to make sure there was no National Guard presence that day. Here's a letter, but see, Muriel Bowser said, well, you know what it looks like when you have National Guard. That's not what it was at all. Here's a letter that Mayor Muriel Bowser wrote on January 5, rejecting President Trump's offer to have the Guard at the January 6 rally to keep the peace. To be clear, the District of Columbia is not requesting and she also came out and said he didn't send any guards. She forgot she wrote this. To be clear, the District of Columbia is not requesting other federal law enforcement personnel and discourages any additional deployment without immediate notification to and consultation with MPD, Metro Police Department, if such plans are underway. So bam, right there. She said, go fuck yourself, Trump. As you can imagine, many people had a lot to say to Nancy about her recent post. Roger Stone, love him. This could be this drunken sot's biggest lie yet. Donald Trump did not delay deploying the National Guard on January 6th and has been thoroughly documented. Pelosi and D.C. Mayor Bauer declined the deployment of National Guard on January 6th. The grand jury, already reviewing evidence of the Russian collusion hoax in Florida, must charge her and a 6 a.m. raid on a residence. He says that every time because his house got raided because they wanted to go after him because he was saying things that made sense to support Trump at the time. Unbelievable. Marjorie Taylor Greene, always good for a point. Not only did Nancy Pelosi refuse President Trump's and Chief Stevenson's request days before January 6, 2021, to bring in the National Guard to the Capitol, after January 6, Nancy Pelosi brought in 30,000 National Guard troops and made them sleep on the floor in the parking garages for 5 months. Wow. And she put the picture in. That's how they slept, thanks to Nancy Pelosi.
I remember that.
Yeah, I do too. Yes, it's important to get to the bottom of the Russia hoax, but we can't take our eyes off the January 6th ball. They're writing that now because we're going after the hoax. There are still plenty of people who need to face justice for what they did to the American people that day, trying to entrap them and paint MAGA as a so-called domestic terrorist. Because you remember, Biden came in and didn't actually declare them as terrorists, but those MAGA extremists, they don't believe. Remember that night that looked like Hitler up on the podium in front of Independence Hall in Philly?
Yep.
I use that picture a lot. All right. But he was, that's when he started. So he's MAGA extremists. They don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in democracy at all. They must be stopped at all costs.
You mean that day when he was
put a target on your back if you wore a MAGA hat?
He was channeling the god Hades.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the most deserving of that justice is Nancy Pelosi. She's not getting any younger, so here's hoping that she faces the music sooner rather than later.
Well, and you know, the thing is that I got to agree, none of these people are going to jail because think of how much she's think of how much she is worth. Even if they do arrest her She's got enough money. She's never going to jail. She's going to fight this thing
Oh yeah, yeah.
up, down, and sideways. And then,
Yeah,
by the time
absolutely right.
she gets to her appeals, it's going to be 20 years. So
Absolutely.
unfortunately, I think we need to jump on this with both boots. And like I've said before, I don't care if any one individual goes to jail. I'd like to see a lot of them go to jail, but I want the truth to be out there and documented so that people can see it.
Yeah.
Anybody want to go on a diet? When you think of something that you want to eat, just think of Nancy Pelosi naked.
Oh, I don't think I'll ever eat again. You come up with these. Maggots and Nancy Pelosi naked. That's what we took from tonight. All right.
Hey, listen, I could have said Stacey Abrams naked.
You just did. I'm never going to get that out.
Damn,
Never.
I just did say it, didn't I?
You did. I'm never going to get out. Oh, man. All right. So here we go. Share screen. All right. If you guys never read American Thinker, you should. They put some really good essays up. All right. Trying to notice what is going on. Let me make it. About 8 years from now, after the re-election of President Vance, experts will agree. I love how this guy writes. Experts will agree that there was something rotten in the state of Clinton, Obama, and Biden. Always the last to know, the experts will finally notice that something has changed in the city on a hill. Steve Saylor has a book on noticing, and why not? The most important skill for a human is to notice when things have changed and then to figure out what to do next. Anyone with half a brain noticed that something had changed back in 2016 when neophyte politician Trump ran for the presidency, and the deep state noticed it too. That's what Clinton and Obama and Clapper and Brennan and Uncle Tom Cobley and our world-beating intelligence community were conspiring to stop before it was too late. Only they failed. I notice, according to reports, that President Trump has just brokered his 7th peace agreement between warring states since January 20 and counting. All of us, excepting our liberal friends, really want to know what this all means. This is what I noticed in the last few days. There's a Selena Zito piece on Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I'll give you the high points here. Spend any time listening to Bessent talk, and it is clear he is laser focused on one thing, something he can only accomplish in his current job, lifting America's economy into a position where both Main Street and Wall Street are performing equally robustly. This is what Trump wants to do. Trump, like Reagan, okay, is a populist. Everybody said Trump or Reagan was a conservative. No, he was a populist nationalist like Trump. He had conservative values, but he wanted to help the people that got screwed over by the globalists, by the people that sent our jobs overseas, right? The people that were portrayed in the Roseanne show, right? And the 79th Treasury Secretary also loves working with President Donald Trump. The banter, trust, and respect that went both ways between the men were tangible. For instance, Trump recently told Bessent that he didn't have enough muscle to work as a steel worker. Bessent's family was very affluent for a couple hundred years, and then we weren't. So Bessent started doing part-time work at age 9. Then Bessent worked his way through college, holding down 3 jobs during summer break and at least 1, if not 2 jobs during the school year, and so on. Read the whole thing. Remember, the other Secretary of the Treasury that worked through his teenage years, Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton, though, would be considered today, by today's standards, a progressive. Believe it or not, he was left wing, even though there was no such thing then. But he was very big government, all that crap. And in fact, there was a war going on between him and Thomas Jefferson. Okay. Jefferson wanted, he didn't want a national bank. He didn't want any of those things. He didn't want taxes, like income taxes and stuff. And Hamilton was for all that. And in the war that they had, they were, writing their ways of thinking and all. This was after the Federalist Papers, and Hamilton won. And that's when, a lot of people don't know this, Thomas Jefferson left political life for 10 years. He got out. He left for 10 years because he was so angry that they didn't take his way, because he thought that Hamilton's way would destroy the country. It didn't, because they didn't really take his way, but they sided with him. George Washington, I believe, sided with Hamilton over it. So then there is an interview with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I think it will be J.D. Vance and Marco. That's who I think the ticket will be. I'm saying that now. Who I assume had something to do with the 7 peace agreements. Of course he did. The interview covered the persecution of Christians all over the world. Rubio stated that the Christian church has traditionally been at its strongest when it's the persecuted church, and weakest when it gets consumed by the culture. Exactly correct. Trump and Rubio are focused on massacres of Christians in countries like Nigeria, and they think the new pope could help. But now let's get a more general worldview from James Banakis, writing at John Cass's website. He notes that there are only 2 responses to Trump: admiration and revulsion. There is, it seems, no middle ground, he writes. Thus, it has always been with consequential figures throughout history. The Trump enemies will hate to hear this, but he is changing the presidency and international relations for the better forever. The entire world is in the midst of a revolution. He's so right. And Trump is the hero that is making it happen. Heroes, according to Joseph Campbell, tend to die on the border between order and chaos. Victor Davis Hanson compares Trump to General Patton, who led the Third Army's full-blast attack from Normandy to the Rhine, keeping the opposition confused and in complete disarray. The leader in this case, Trump, is the tip of the spear. His administration follows to implement his agendas. See, that's the problem with his first term. He had people there that were fighting against him. They should have never listened to his son-in-law. All right, Jared Kushner, who told him, "Oh, hire this guy. Yeah, he's real well known." Yeah, okay. They were all rhinos who did not like him. Okay, so he demonstrates every day, whether you agree with his policies or not, that he was born to lead. He just was. The press, because of Trump, is in the process of changing forever. Newspapers and network news are becoming a thing of the past, which is why he's pushing for the independent types. I have people telling me you should go down to Washington and you will get into that press pool for the indies. I was like, how the hell would I do that? Because I would have to be there like every single day for that. And I have a job. My point in throwing all this out is to help you and myself try to begin to understand what is going on here. My faith is that we are at a turning point in history. I believe it too. The end of the age of politics as religion of heaven on earth, the rule of the educated elite. In other words, we're in a revolution. What kind of revolution? I suggest there are 3 kinds of revolution. Educated class revolutions like the French, Bolshevik and Maoist revolutions lead straight to the abattoir. Lower class revolutions usually fail, peasant uprisings and worker rebellions. But the American Revolution was the most successful in history. Why was that? I suggest that it was a middle class revolution led by men who understood life in the real world, men ranging from landowners like Washington and Jefferson, lawyers like John Adams, and of course, my man, Alexander Hamilton, that bastard brat of a Scotch peddler who practiced business and law and understood central banking. That's what he stood for, the central bank. Have you noticed that populist nationalism all across the world is middle class centered? That gives me hope. That's what I was saying earlier about the middle class. Trump cares about the people who got screwed by the globalists. He cares about that. Technocratic. There is a technocratic revolution going on right now. You're right. Yeah, Patton was right. We were fighting the wrong people. Yeah, exactly. He wanted to go after the communists, and they told him no. And then he was murdered in that car crash.
Was he murdered?
I think he was murdered. Yeah, I think it was intentional, the car crash, when he died.
Interesting. But that story illustrates a couple of things that I've said before. Number one is that 2020, losing that election was actually a gift. The Democrats gave conservatives the biggest gift that was exactly what we needed. And there's hopefully no going back. I think I agree with you that my feeling is it's going to be JD and Marco, but wouldn't it also be nice for JD to stay the Secretary of, not JD, for Marco to stay
Marco?
Secretary of State, and then when it comes his time, say, look what I did, me, in my 12 years as Secretary of
Who do
State.
you want with JD?
What's that?
Who do you want with JD then?
Well, that's a good question.
I think
Who do I
Marco's the
want?
guy.
That's a good question. I'll have to think about that one, because Marco is right up there on the list. I never thought I would say this.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Never.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
I didn't either. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but who else would you put up there? Byron Donalds.
There you go. I wasn't even thinking of him right now. I told him to his face when I shook his hand that someday you're going to run for president and I'm going to vote for you. He smiled and he goes, "Hey man, thanks."
Byron Donalds, he might be one. Who else? Christy
We
Noem.
have such a winning bench, don't we?
Yeah,
now. It's unreal.
I like Christy Noem, but she pissed off a few people with that book. I don't think she's viable.
Yeah, with the whole dog thing.
I don't think she's viable. I understood it. I grew up in a rural area.
Yeah.
But
I know.
Urban people do not understand. I don't think Christy Noem is viable. I think she's great for a cabinet position.
Right.
I don't think she's viable for the executive.
Yeah, exactly.
What about somebody like oh gosh, why do I always forget her name? Our DNI, Tulsi.
Tulsi?
What about Tulsi?
She'd never win. The left would attack her so bad because of what she's done. She was a Democrat and she's destroying their party.
And that is exactly why I would just howl with laughter to see her up there. I think it would be the greatest thing. I mean, and how to troll the Democrats by picking your Veep from a prior Democrat. I mean, wouldn't that be the greatest troll in the world?
Trump was a Democrat, and he friended them, and because he had to grease their palms in New York, he can't get anything done. And they told him things they wouldn't tell anybody else. Here's how we get away with this. This is how we do it. And here he runs as a Republican.
Yeah,
they considered him a traitor to them.
But
he always loved America. That's the thing about Trump.
But I would think Byron Donalds could be right up there.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Donald would make a good president.
But the thing is, you have to be careful, because if Marco really does want it, you don't want him also to miss his chance. So if he would run with JD in 2028, then he could run, hopefully, 8 years later with Byron Donalds as his VP.
Yeah.
So he could then, stepping it up the ladder.
Right.
So I think you're right, though. I think Marco's going to be the VP candidate under JD.
I think he will be, and I think it's what we need to get the next 8 years.
Yeah, and we really need. I mean, we've just scratched the surface now. We really need.
Gina's mentioning Elise Stefanik. I was going to talk about her. Do you know what she's doing now?
What is she doing?
She's running for governor of New York.
Oh, I heard that. That's right.
She's working for Trump, but I think she's going to run for governor of New York. Now, I like her because she is a conservative, and that's very hard to be a conservative in New York.
Very hard.
If you remember, she took Cheney's place as conference chair, right? Yeah, there will be a next 8 years.
It's going to suit Louis. Are you being a naysayer?
Yeah, there will be another 8 years. There absolutely will be, because look, all signs point to there are more people ditching the Democratic Party now because they've been exposed. And I'm not talking about this crossfire hurricane shit. I'm talking about Doge. I mean, people are not going to forget Doge.
And all you have to do is clean up the voter rolls and get some of the corruption out of the way. And I think, we've got a very good chance of having the next 8 years.
Yeah, we do absolutely, because Trump is showing people how to really govern. He just hold my beer, and he does things. I know he doesn't drink. He fact checkers. I'm kidding. So he says hold my beer. I'm going to go fix that. When presidents for years said, yeah, we're going to fix that, they never did. He does.
Yeah,
and it's just showing you that when you're not thinking about, that's another thing they love about him. When you're not thinking about everything you're about to say because you want to say the right thing. There you go, Pam. I love her for that. She's really good. But what's called? It could be root beer. That's exactly right, or birch beer. I like birch beer.
but yeah, I think we're still on an upslope here. Trump is showing everybody how it's done. He's, everybody was wringing their hands. Oh, you can't say that. You can't do that. And Trump is going, yeah, I can say that. And by the way, when I say it, I mean it.
And
so
here's the funny part, though, that I think that is going to ride 8 years. What Trump is doing, he's doing things that are legal for him to do, but no president ever did when they should have. And the Democrats are being exposed as being the whiny little crybabies who are arguing the 20 out of 80%, right? They're arguing that, right? And it's showing that the Democrat, that Trump and the Republicans, because if you notice, Trump is including the Congress in with this. Yeah, they did a great job. They passed big, beautiful bill, all that stuff, right? He's including them because they don't take their own. They don't take laps themselves. They're a bunch of pussies, the Republicans, right? So what he's doing is he's telling he's telling the American people, Trump is, he's saying, look, we don't fuck around. We really want to get these things done. Promises made, promises kept. And look at the Democrats that are complaining about all the things that we're doing that are going to make your life better. And that's the message. And enough people are going to get that. You're always going to have that 10% of the 33% of the party, the Democratic Party, that's just never going to go for a Republican. But who cares? They don't have enough people. All right. I personally don't think there will be a Democratic Party in 5 years. I don't think there will be.
good one. Like everybody else, I am not into kings and
Love it.
Kings and whatever you want to call them, kings and presidents for life. And
right.
So I want us to have a free and open elections. I want us to have a variety of opinions on the table for people to vote for. But let me tell you, the emotional part of me, that's my logical part. The emotional part of me wants to see the Democrats kicked into 100,000 pieces.
See,
really do.
You want to see another thing that's happening? I might get in trouble for this, but here's another thing that is the Trump effect, guys. You ready? Clinics are ending gender treatments for kids in wake of Trump's policies. More than 20 clinics have changed course in response to a political shift, and gender-related treatments for minors face increasing legal challenges. And here they are. These are Pennsylvania, University of Pittsburgh, University of Pennsylvania.
Notice the distribution.
Yeah.
Notice the distribution.
All stopped.
Okay, so
how about it?
How?
I don't want to get in trouble.
How can this be a good idea for minor children?
Jimmy's here.
How can this be a good idea for minor children? I don't care whether you believe it or not believe it. You're an adult. You can do what the fuck you want. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
But minor children, you've got to be
Jimmy
kidding.
from Philly in the house, guys. Yeah, I know. Minor children and the parents that allowed their kids to destroy the rest of their lives with that stuff.
In Canada, if you take your kid to the doctor and the kid has told you that they think they're in the wrong body.
Yeah, we did that story.
Did we do? What did I tell you that the
Yeah,
doctor?
that list.
The doctor may not suggest anything but complying with the kids' bizarre thoughts.
Yeah.
So if you suggest maybe they need some counseling, you will get censured if you suggest anything beyond fully embracing.
Oh yeah, and they voted on saying that kids can go for the surgeries or the treatment without telling the parent. They can have the surgery without telling the parents.
Yeah, I don't know
Who's gonna
about the
pay for it?
surgery. I don't know about the surgery, but I know
See,
that
that was it. The beta blockers and all the other stuff.
the puberty blockers and the hormones, they were able to get those,
puberty
not beta blockers.
Yeah, I know.
But
yeah, affirming care. Jimmy got it right. That's what it is. It falls under
affirming care, yeah. And
affirming
you can't talk to you can lose your license for doing that as a physician.
Wow.
So it's bizarre.
You
I want to hear about beta. I want to hear about beta.
We're going to do it. A child can't go to a doctor's appointment to have his teeth cleaned without a parent.
Okay, so how about this? They were talking about, minors being able to make medical decisions, and you should be able to vote at 16. Okay, well, all right. If you want kids to vote at 16, I say they should be able to buy a gun at 16. If they're responsible people, they're responsible people, right? Right? You can't have it both ways.
Right. Although they want to have it both ways. They always want to have it.
Of course they want it both ways.
Rig everything.
I want to hear about Beto.
Yeah. Wow. This week Rumble's right up with us. Neck and neck. I mean, as far as where we're at. They're neck and neck live.
Yeah.
The tube's time to us 25. Yeah, crazy world. Now you can get your schlongs cut off. And you know what it was all for? Oh, because the doctors believed in that. No, money, cha-ching. That's what they wanted.
Follow the money.
Yeah, why not let them drive too? Exactly. Good point.
Ken Paxton, yeah. I want to see that story. I
got it up. I got it up. Here we go, guys. Remember Beto O'Rourke? We will take your AR-15s. I'm about to lose my job. There you go. Ken Paxton seeks to put Democrat Beto O'Rourke behind bars for fundraising for AWOL Dems because that's a felony. You can't do that. Texas Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton said on Tuesday that he is seeking to arrest Democrat Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, his first name's not Beto. None of it is. Over O'Rourke's alleged violation of a court order requiring him to stop fundraising for the AWOL Texas Democrats. Paxton accused O'Rourke of blatantly violating a temporary restraining order by continuing to fundraise and pay for the personal expenses of runaway Democrat legislators. Last week, Tarrant County, Texas District Court Judge Megan Fahey barred O'Rourke and his political group, Power by People, from, they have those flowering it, Power by People. Sounds constitutional. From funding the group of 50 Democrats who fled the state to stop a vote on a GOP-backed congressional map. Paxton alleges that O'Rourke violated the restraining order immediately after it was issued by telling a crowd of supporters that he would continue fundraising for the runaway Democrats. O'Rourke also told the crowd that Democrats should F the rules and win whatever it takes, calling on Democrat-led states to redraw congressional maps that take seats away from the Republicans. Now you think about it. He just came out and said, fuck the rules. In other words, fuck democracy, according to their beliefs, right? They're the one, he's ruining democracy. He just said, F the rules. The Democrats tried to take Trump off the ballot. F the rules. Win whatever it takes. Win whatever it takes is speak for, okay, when we get in, they're never going to stop us. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, but
it's law. Who cares? Because we are the law.
Yeah, but Rich, it's different when they do it. They're just putting out a reasonable response to all of this, conservative foolishness.
Right. Well, Paxton put out, I'm taking action to hold Robert Francis O'Rourke. Notice he didn't say Beto O'Rourke in contempt for violating a court order and scamming Texans. Beto is about to find out that running your mouth and ignoring the rule of law has consequences in Texas. It's time to lock him up. That's the Attorney General writing that. You gotta love it, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. You gotta love it.
Yeah, Beto, take those shoes off your teeth and stop running your mouth.
Now, Jim, Beto O'Rourke, Paxton is known for following through. He's known for it. This is why, Jim, they tried to take him out, right? They tried to have him impeached, and the rhinos were involved because the rhinos in Texas work with Democrats like they do everywhere else. Rhinos tried to take him out, and he won. He beat him because too many Texans know that he's a law and order guy. He don't F around. He just doesn't. I know, you're right. The whole world is upside down. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on. And they're saying Trump is the fascist. It's just
the whole world is upside down. Everything we used to value is bad. I mean, ambition, hard work, saving, family values. Help me out, Rich. All of these things. Everything.
Yeah.
Responsibility.
Right.
Oh my God, you can't expect somebody to be responsible.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's not part of their culture. So that's racist if you ask them to be responsible.
Right. See, what I think it is too is it's the 80-20 thing. Like what I said, it's the 80-20 thing, right?
Well, listen, the other thing is, and I've said this before too, if Trump came out in favor of drinking water, they would all dehydrate. It's very simple.
Yeah, true. Hold on. I got something here.
What's going on?
I'm going to play this. This is funny. Ready?
Donald Trump makes himself Batman, and the nation's capital is Gotham City. The president of the United States has declared himself crime fighter in chief.
Now that's funny.
It is. Oh my God. Hitler. I love it. Hitler. There it is. I love it.
Oh, well, that was a natural.
Yeah, look at that. That's true, yeah. Look at it. You gotta love that, right?
Oh my.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good. Was it he can hold it, but he might pass out.
Oh my.
What are we talking about? Jimmy, don't hold your breath. We're in the midst of a communist. Nah, Jim, the commies over here are gone. China is fighting for its existential life. Yeah.
I got to hear this.
What's that?
Latest Associated Press silly shame fest.
Oh, yeah. Your dog is causing climate change.
Oh, you got to do that one.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I wanted to do that before we leave.
Yeah, we got to do that one. We got one or two more in us.
Latest Associated Press silly shame fest. Your dog is causing climate change. Look at this. Sometimes you can't help but wonder, how do the progressives scold who constantly shame everyone else for routine actions ever get out of bed in the morning with the burdens they carry? They worry they're using too much water to brush their teeth. They can't take a vacation because the emissions from the car or plane will cause the demise of us all, and the CO2 they emit with each breath spells disaster. Yeah, it's all our own fault. We have to kill ourselves. They constantly fret over the consumption of meat, the use of everyday household appliances that make our lives better, and any other progress that has brought our civilization into the 21st century. Exactly. Who wrote this? They got great names. Bob Hoge. Okay. Now the Associated Press is highlighting the latest idiocy out of the National Academy of Sciences, which has been corrupted by the left, which has determined that your pooch is contributing to the possible death of human society. The top 3 individual actions that help the climate, including avoiding plane flights, choosing not to get a dog, and using your renewable electricity, were also the three that participants underestimated most. Meanwhile, the lowest impact actions were changing to more efficient appliances and swapping out light bulbs, recycling, and using less energy on washing clothes. In other words, you Americans, stop having a good time. That's what it's all about. Dogs are big meat eaters, and meat is a significant contributor to climate change, says Eddie Dumas. That is because many of the farm animals, which will become food, release methane. Cow farts. We're back. We've come full circle from AOC in 2018. Cow farts. That's what we're talking about. That is because many of the farm animals which will become food, release methane. Cattle are often raised on land that was illegally deforested. What a moron. What a maroon. Don't you just want to say to these folks, get a life? I don't actually give a frying leap if my dog is environmentally high or low impact. Dogs are man's best friend and have brought incalculable joy to our species for tens of thousands of years. I watched a documentary on that, like where the dogs came from and how they started working with humans and then became their best friend. It was a fascinating documentary. It's on YouTube. And no, I'm not going to serve them vegetables just to make John Kerry and Greta Thunberg happy. If I were less polite, I'd tell them exactly where they can stick this study. I'm not even going to read it. Certainly, it's good practice to look after the environment and to do what can help it. To do what we can to help it. But getting rid of our beloved pets is a total non-starter. The shame industry is still huge, but more and more people are tuning them out as their apocalyptic visions keep failing to materialize. It's stories like these that prove why the left and the mainstream media are in such disfavor right now. They just keep bringing doom and gloom, while Trump and his team just keep bringing optimism, hope, and progress to our nation. We are in a golden age, I'm telling you, and it's palpable and it's very noticeable. My family is between dogs right now, but when we get another one, these fools better not try to come for it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, how relevant is Greta Thunberg right now?
I know. Here you go. How dare you?
Yeah. Do we care about Bill Clinton?
No.
You got to get a story about Bill Clinton. I don't know if I care about Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I don't think so. Jay is now underground contributing to the law.
Oh, there's a good one. Newsom gets brutal news.
Yeah.
Let's do that one.
Yeah. This is the one that I was laughing at earlier, talking about. So Newsom gets brutal news after vowing to further gerrymander California. That's what I've been saying all along. A new poll shows that California voters want to keep the state's independent redistricting commission, even as Gavin Newsom pushes to shift that power to the state's Democrat-controlled legislature. Because, what do I always say? Democrats love to rig every system. Newsom aims to redraw California's political maps in a way that benefits Democrats, countering President Donald Trump's push for Texas lawmakers to do the same in favor of Republicans. A Politico Citron Center Possibility Lab survey found that only 36% of registered California voters support giving congressional redistricting authority back to state lawmakers, while 64% want to keep the independent commission in place. Now, how much you want to bet that Gavin Newsom finds some little obscure notation inside the state's charter, their constitution, and he says, I'm taking over this. I don't care about the commissions. They're null and void. We're going to redistrict to save the party. How much you want to bet? Among party lines, in other words, he will break the law. Among party lines, 66% of Republicans, 61% of Democrats, and 72% of independents. Guys, that's high freaking numbers. 66 Republicans, 61% of Democrats in favor of keeping the commission. I told you guys last week, this is what they did. They virtue signaled themselves into a political corner because they came up with these, we're not going to gerrymander, because they knew that Republicans have more states. So they get red, there's more red states, and many of those red states now have super majorities. So there's nothing the Dems can do there. So why not redistrict? Right? You wipe out some Democrat seats. and the ones that they're going after are the racist Democrat seats, because they used the Voting Rights Act. It was the Gibson case. That was in 1986. I forget who it was v. Gibson, but it was known as the Gibson case. And the Gibson case allowed the Democrats to abuse the ruling, right, to create race-based districts. And you would have one group of blacks that lived here in the city and another group here. Everybody else was mixed, everything, right? And they would have like one road. The district was as wide as the road going from that one to that one. Okay, these are districts. Well, not only did they create a district for themselves, but they broke up the other districts, right? Because everybody was in this district. Everybody was here. Now they took parts out, and those districts broke up because they had to be split into like other districts. So conservatives always lost. That's how they maintained their power for years. Well, guess what? Trump came up with the idea that you got to do redistricting now. You know, and Hakeem Jeffries last week or 2 weeks ago, he did an interview, and he said they have the audacity to do mid-decade redistricting. And I'm like, you guys did it under Obama. Who are you kidding? You know, and the CNN guy, to his credit, kept hammering him with it. Yeah, but you guys did it. You know, but he didn't say under Obama. He kept saying, and he said, no, we didn't. And he, yeah, you did. You really did it. So,
but the beauty of it is, even if they do it, they really don't have far to go. Because, Massachusetts, Trump got 30 to 35% of the vote. You know how many Republicans they sent to Congress? 0.
Yeah.
Connecticut, same thing. Illinois, Trump got high 30s in the vote. You know how many Republicans came out of that?
Yep.
3 out of, I think, 17. California, 44% of the vote, I believe, is what Trump got. You know how many they sent? It's like 20% of their congressmen are Republican.
Yeah, I forget who read that off during the week. I heard it too, and it was very interesting. And
New England is all similar too. Most of New England, but Connecticut, Massachusetts.
And what it means is that in a lot of blue states, Democrats are fed up with what's going on by their own people, but they'll still vote for them because they fear the guys that want to help them.
But it was real funny to see the governor of Massachusetts out there table thumping that, we'll redistrict too.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
They're under a commission as well.
Okay.
Yeah, they're under a commission as well. So
no, but it doesn't matter. They've got no Republican representatives.
Oh, I know. There's nothing. Yeah. What can they do?
What are you going to do?
It was a hollow threat. What can they do? What are they going to do? Redistrict themselves?
I mean, redistrict yourself to death.
When policy influencers described by Politico Pro subscribers, deeply versed in the state's political landscape, were surveyed, their responses largely aligned with partisan preferences. 91% of Republican policy influencers backed keeping the commission, while a narrow majority of Democrat influence, 51%, still a majority, favored handing the authority over to the legislature. So the Democrats love to rig a system. Now, why is that? Because
that's how they win.
But why is it that voters always do it? Because the Democratic Party plays to emotions. You know, I'm not going to tell you what I can do to make your life better, but don't vote for that guy. He's a fucking racist. He hates your guts because of who you are. That's what they do. And the people in California, there's something in the water. They believe that shit. I mean, think about this. They're saying, the Republicans are the ones that are making your life miserable. What, all 3 of them? You know, in the state, all 3 Republicans in the state legislature are really causing everybody to have a shitty life? Come on. But they believe it. Quote, that surprised me a little bit, given that this is being pushed so heavily by New Scum and by the Democratic Party nationally that we have to combat Texas. Jack Citron, a veteran political science professor at UC Berkeley and partner on the poll, told Politico, Newsom is set to launch his redistricting push on Thursday. He can't, following the Trump administration's refusal to relent on its own efforts to encourage GOP-controlled states to redraw their congressional maps. Look, the Republicans in Texas are getting 5 seats. I believe it's 5 seats they're going to get. And they could push it to 8 because if they didn't come back, but I think they're coming back. I read that they are coming back.
I heard that they were.
Yeah, they're coming back, and
No, you know what they did? They declared victory, and they're coming back now.
right. Yeah, they did. They declared victory. These people are fucking nuts. They're out of their minds. When you think about it, they are out of their ever-loving minds.
I can't
one
follow
more.
them.
We can do one more.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I do.
Right, let's do one more.
Hold
I'm
on.
with you. I'm with you.
Let me see something.
Pick a good one.
Oh, I will. Hold on. Give me a sec. Let me go into. Let me see. Here's one. Jen Psaki. This is great. This isn't on the page. This isn't on the page.
I was hoping that she would just go away, but that
Daily Beast. Ben Johnson's unhinged outburst after MSNBC host Jen Psaki's meltdown. Here we go.
All right, let's do another. Oh boy. Okay. Right-wing YouTuber Benny Johnson. Let's do this.
Nancy Pelosi has attacked the president for deploying the National Guard to the city, saying that it is to cover for his incompetence. Hillary Clinton has also attacked the president for securing the city of Washington, D.C. I'd like to get your response, follow-up to that. Given the heroic actions of a member of this administration just a few blocks from this building, will the president consider giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Big Balls?
To Big Balls.
Well, Benny,
Yeah,
I have to hand it to you. That didn't disappoint with the insanity of that question. But first off, I mean, Nancy Pelosi is right. The deployment of the National Guard is definitely not about actually lowering the crime rate. That has been going down. It's about changing the subject.
See, she's another one of those liars. She knows she was the press secretary. She knows damn right well what we talked about earlier that the crime rate had skyrocketed and it's coming down now, but it's still above most cities. It's still above their own.
About normalizing military in the streets. It's about a lot of things.
Yeah, like when you had those 10,000 National Guard troops normalizing DC during the J6 days. Is that what you're talking about, Psaki?
As for Big Balls, which I can't believe we have to say on a TV show, but here we are in 2025. I mean, what happened to him was horrible, and I wish him a speedy recovery.
No, you don't. You're a freaking liar.
Everybody should. But the people who typically receive the Medal of Freedom have decades of public service or storied careers under their belts.
Right.
You mean like you?
Yeah, but guess what? Benny Johnson just got you to say big balls on your TV show. That was about.
There you go. There you go.
That's what that was about.
And that's probably exactly what it was about.
Yeah. All right, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button if you haven't already, please. It does help us. Again, we say this every week. Please tell your friends about us, please. All right?
Bring a friend.
People in here. Yeah, we got to get you guys. We love you guys. Are our core. We love you guys.
We want more.
Got to get more people in. So call your friends. Bring it in. I'm doing things myself to try to bring people in. All right. It's just Friday nights. A lot of people like to go out on Friday nights, but we love you guys for spending every Friday with us because we know you could be anywhere else, and we love you to death for that. And we know you guys in the UK are like you're out late right now. We understand that. You guys are like what 5 hours ahead of us, right? So we know you're up late. So we appreciate you. We love you guys.
Yeah, you guys are running out your clock over there.
Yeah, I know. We love them for everything too. Plus, guys, this Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern time, right? I'm going to be on a show called Relentless. It's an Australian show, and it's the girl that does Courage is the Cure. Her name's Robin, and I'm going to be doing her show because she has an 8 o'clock at night show that she does, which is 6 a.m. for me. And so I told her I would go on. I wanted to collab with her because she's really good. I watched a lot of her videos. Not a real big Trump supporter, but she's still pretty good at what she does. And so you guys would actually, I think you would like it, but it's 6 a.m. So what I'll do is if she posts it, I don't know if I think she does post them on YouTube. If she does, I'll give you guys the link because it's probably going to be pretty good. She told me she's going to let me talk about whatever I want, the videos that I have done so far in the week. So that's a good thing to hear, because I don't have to worry about, like what question, because I kept asking her in emails, like, what's the topic? And she finally responded. She said, whatever you want to talk about. And I thought that was cool because I think she and I are on the same wavelength as far as freedom and government and definitely free speech rights because she's against censorship as much as we all are. All right. Thank you, 42. Special K, Bass, Pam. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, everybody, really. Louis, Gina, Curious Georgia. Love you guys, all of you. If I missed you, I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. Dawn, love you. Who else is here? Linda. Yeah, Jimmy from Philly. Love you, brother. Everybody else, let's see. All right. All right, guys, we are out of here. Thank you very much for being here. Hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.
Next week.
Yep.